to Anaheim for our Red Sox coverage.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time.
The following is an exclusive presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.
They brought their rally monkeys in sea of red here in Anaheim to get their Angels going. Hoping their biggest bat and biggest pitcher can quell the attack leveled on them from the Bashers of Boston. Here comes game 2. The nerves have settled. Opening salvos have been fired. Now it's time to respond or reload.
I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Oh Lord, oh Lord.
The Thundersticks were the soundtrack for Anaheim's Hollywood run 2 years ago, but yesterday it was Boston's Thundersticks that made all the noise. The changed man, who might be MVP Manny Ramirez, blasting at full volume, with the Angels' missteps hushing their hometown crowd. Now, can Guerrero and Colon prove themselves against Pedro? Coming back is nothing new for the Angels. When they won it all, they lost all 3 playoff openers. But these Sox are committed to closing the door with a second win on the road.
And I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh Lord, oh
Welcome everybody to Angels Stadium here in Southern California. A beautiful evening for baseball. And certainly these fans are hoping it's a beautiful evening for their Angels. The AL West champion Angels losing game 1 yesterday to the AL wildcard winning Boston Red Sox. Hi everybody, I'm Chris Berman. Glad you can be with us for game 2 of the Sox-Angels series. Well, the Red Sox yesterday came as advertised. They're a team that scored the most runs of any team in baseball, and they bashed the Angels by the count of 9-3. Their new look has in ace Curt Schilling or in Orlando Cabrera at shortstop, flashing the leather, paid immediate dividends. The Anaheim Angels, frankly, did not come as advertised. They were sloppy. They were uneasy. We certainly don't expect the same from them tonight. But their new looks, if you will. Vladimir Guerrero 0 for yesterday. And tonight's starter Bartolo Colon and game 3 starter Kelvin Escobar, their new look on the mound, they have to pay dividends. But in speaking of pitching, we have with us a man that's won a Cy Young Award, Rick Sutcliffe and Sut. A guy that's won 3 of them is Pedro Martinez. Look, the last decade he's had Hall of Fame type caliber career, but he's coming off arguably the worst month of his career. Which Pedro do we see tonight?
Well, I think we're going to kind of see a guy in between that. One closer to the Cy Young Award guy, but he talks about the baseball not feeling right in his hand. He's a fingertip control guy. He talks about that being the part of the fingertip you use to push the doorbell. It's also the part you need for the rotation on the curveball, the location on the fastball. It hasn't been there, but Pedro Martinez is a man with a lot of pride, and Boomer, he usually finds a way.
He's got it in his gut, you know that. Certainly a man with a lot of pride. The guy that's won 8 batting titles is Tony Gwynn. And Tony, tonight Bartolo Colon had a huge start Friday in a big game at Oakland. He's been excellent the second half, but this is his biggest start as an Anaheim Angel. He's pitched in the postseason before with Cleveland. That being said, what do you expect from him tonight on the mound?
Well, personally, I expect him to throw like he's thrown the second half of the season. The first half, no question, was a struggle for him. 5-8, 6.57 ERA, 26 home runs allowed. The second 17 starts, 13-4, 3.65 ERA, and only 12 home runs allowed. In order for him to have success tonight, he's going to have to be able to throw all 3 of his pitches and throw them in the strike zone, because if he doesn't, this is an offensive club that the Red Sox have that can do some damage.
Well, we know Colon is outstanding stuff. We know that Pedro Martinez is an outstanding pitcher. But why do I have the feel, guys, 7-6, 6-5-ish tonight? I just have that feel. What we're saying is, don't go to bed. We got bashers. Hey, Anaheim hit the ball yesterday as well. Didn't just show up on the scoreboard. Long ball, Red Sox have it. Sox, Angels, game 2. Coming up. Back in Anaheim, those loosey-goosey Red Sox Johnny Damon quoted, and of course he meant it in a different way, is, hey, we're just a happy bunch of idiots playing baseball. They're the best baseball playing idiots that we've seen in a long time. But they've just played the song Calling All Angels, and Anaheim knows, hey, look, this 0-1 thing works. It did, as we said, with all three series in 2002, and they came back to win them all, obviously win the World Series. But losing 2 at home would be another question. Johnny Damon leading off, had a couple of hits yesterday. Mark Bellhorn is at second base again, went 0 for 4. Manny Ramirez hit an absolute bomb, a 3-run homer, 2 for 5 hitting third. David Ortiz, 1 for 3, drove in the first run of the game yesterday. Trot Nixon didn't play yesterday. He gets the start in right field. Kevin Millar looking Don Mattingly-like at first base, heaven forbid. He hit a 2-run shot. Jason Varitek had a hit yesterday, hitting 7th. Orlando Cabrera, the shortstop, had a hit yesterday, hitting 8th. And the batting champ of a year ago hits 9th. That would be Billy Miller. He went 0 for yesterday, going up against the big, and I do mean big, right-handed starter for the Anaheim Angels. That would be Bartolo Colon.
When you look at the numbers for Colon, just 6 and 8 at the All-Star break, you have to understand the man was hurt. He had a bad ankle. He had a bad back. His mechanics were nowhere near what he was used to. But to his credit, he never missed the start. He could not throw between starts, but yet he kept taking his turn. This is the biggest turn he will ever take for the Anaheim Angels.
Well, defense, we saw the Angels, Tony, struggle yesterday. Uncharacteristic. Mike Scioscia, the skipper's made a couple of changes in the starting lineup.
Yeah, he's decided to put McPherson over at third base and move Figgins from third base to second base. You know, and it's not that, you know, I don't want it to seem like he's moving Figgins to second base to kind of take some of the heat off, but I think he feels like offensively, you know, they're going to have to swing the bats a little bit, and McPherson's more of an offensive guy. He's only played 11 games at third base, but, you know, they feel like this is probably going to be their best unit for tonight's game.
Could be a big gamble. The youngster at third base, he's fielding okay. Figgins is a better second baseman than he is third baseman, according to the manager.
But I think it's the right gamble to make, Boomer, because even if Colon is at his best, you know the Boston Red Sox are going to score some runs. Yep. Anaheim has to find a way.
Absolutely.
Well, we said it yesterday that I thought Johnny Damon would be the key to this series. Now, by the time he started getting his hits yesterday, Washburn was out and they had a comfortable lead. So he did get 2 hits, stole a base, but here's a guy that he has hit well throughout his career. And I asked him why as Colon starts in the second. He goes, I don't know, I got lucky. Like he says, we're just a happy bunch of idiots playing baseball.
I did never buy that. You know, this game, there is some luck involved, but there's also some skill. And well, as soon as Washburn came out of there yesterday, Damon hit 2 balls right on the screws for base hits. You had the hard ground ball to third that Figgins ended up throwing away, but so I agree with you, Chris. I think he's going to be the key to the Red Sox getting something generated on the offensive end.
I don't believe in a lot of these numbers, but when you pitch a hit against a guy 40 times, 15 for 40 is 375. And yes, there's another hit off of, and that he says, I'm just very lucky. Vladimir Guerrero gimping around in right as Garrett Anderson is gimping in center. You know, that I don't want to say there are holes out there, but this is not the ground normally covered by these fellas.
Yeah, both of those guys are kind of banged up right now, but they're both gamers. They want to be out there. And honestly, it's an opportunity for the Red Sox. You know, maybe you try to put some pressure on them, especially early in the game.
Although I did talk to Damon about running, and he says for right-handers, Colon is about as good as it gets in the American League. He goes, he's a big guy. You figure he's going to have this big long. He says his slide step is actually, he goes, do not assume what you see is what you get. Damon says he's outstanding holding guys on. We'll see. He's certainly taken his time to do that with Damon.
He recognizes right off the bat. He got ahead of him, you know, made a pretty good pitch. Damon just fought it off and dropped a base hit in the right field. And, you know, let's see how the Red Sox play. Let's see if they bunt him up, allow him to maybe run.
Mark Bellhorn looks at ball 1.
Yeah, I don't look for the bunt right now, Tony. I think this is where Mark Bellhorn will run into some of those 17 home runs. You saw the divided attention from Colon. I mean, I've been that guy on the mound. You know that your attention is kind of split, and if you make a mistake, I mean, Bellhorn can turn it around.
that's fouled off. Just case in point, and we're not going to cite these numbers all night long because you can go nuts reading some of these stats, but Damon has had success. There's a base hit. 3 for 9 base stealers against Cologne this year. First of all, they'd only run on a big guy 9 times already tells you something.
Yeah.
And so, and there's Damon's numbers. Of course, he leads the Red Sox, but then again, that's a team that primarily is running underwater when it comes to stealing bases, except for him. What are we looking for out of Cologne here in the first inning or two, Sut, to make you know that he's either on or maybe a little off?
We're looking for a 0. We're looking for a 0 if you're an Anaheim Angel fan in the top of the first inning so that he can settle down. Right now, you get down in the bullpen, you have control of your fastball, curveball, and change, but you don't have control of that adrenaline. He made a mistake on the 0-2 pitch. He's in the hole now.
There's a base hit by Bellhorn. Again, not a thumper, but 2 base hits, and now Manny Ramirez is up.
I think the other thing that happens here with Damon getting that base hit, it really kind of puts Cologne in a situation where he's got to throw fastballs. And this is a fastball he wanted to get off the plate, and it's really not that bad a pitch. Bellhorn just goes with it, hits it off the end of the bat, and drops it into left field for a base hit. So, you know, if you're the Red Sox, you're feeling pretty good about this first inning opportunity again. You scored a run yesterday in the first, and today you're already coming up to the plate. You got Manny Ramirez coming up to the plate with a chance to knock in a run.
Manny hit a 3-run homer in that touchdown and extra point 4th inning for Boston, which just about decided the game. Ramirez scoring 2 runs, scored the first run of the game after Manny legged out a double off the glove of Figgins, and then Meziga couldn't come up with Ortiz's little bleeder, and that's how they scored with small ball. And then they went long ball in the 4th. Cologne to Ramirez. Fouled in the booth next to us. There aren't many areas where you try to work him, huh, Sut? I mean, you're on the mound. Where are you attempting to throw this?
Well, not in the same spot on any 2 pitches. You fooled him there. You went away. He was looking in. I wouldn't go away right now. I might go to an off-speed pitch, or I might come hard in on him.
He did that.
He just elevated that fastball. He took it right on up the ladder, and Manny Ramirez just could not catch up with it. You look at the K zone, you look at the top part of that, and I think that's been the big key, Tony. The first 2 guys that got hits, he did not explore the bottom part of that line. He needs to remember. I mean, this is that adrenaline right now. He just simply can't get it down there. He's going to have to get out of this inning eventually, though.
The other thing that happens when a good hitter comes up to the plate is you watch the catcher Molina. He's not setting up until the last second. He's given the sign, and he's sitting right in the middle of the plate because the good hitter can sense when that catcher moves. And Molina's given the sign, and he's setting up right in the middle of the plate. And as soon as Bartolo Colon lifts his leg, that's where he goes to wherever he's going, in or out.
To right field. Long run for Vlad Guerrero. It's too long, but it's also a foul ball. Well, we told you that yesterday in the 4th inning, Kevin Millar started it with a 2-run homer, but Manny pretty much ended it. Scott Shields came on in relief, but didn't provide it off the rock pile out there, and that 3-run homer the Red Sox batted around. And he out there having fun in the warm California sun.
Yeah, but that was 3 of the 4 unearned runs that the Anaheim Angels allowed yesterday. They know they're not as good a team all the way around as the Boston Red Sox, so they have to play better baseball than what Boston does to win.
Well, they'll play better tonight than last night. We know that. Shocked if they didn't. Him inside with a big strikeout for Cologne. Ramirez the first out of the game.
He just changed grips on that fastball, Tony. He had been throwing the straight four-seam fastball. Here comes the sinking two-seam fastball. You see Manny trying to protect there. You finally seen him kind of that adrenaline starting to get control over that. You get command of your fastball and you make the pitches you need.
And that's an excellent pitch right there to Ramirez. Even if he hits that ball, he's not going to be able to do very much with it. You saw the run, you saw the sink on that. Just an absolutely perfect pitch for Colon to make.
Well, out of the frying pan and into the fire. Manny Ramirez down. Here's David Ortiz. Drove in the first run of the series yesterday. And to strikes as home plate umpire Jerry Meals. Brian Runge is at first. Gary Cedarstrom at second. Crew chief Ed Montague at third. Kerwin Danley on the left field line. Last night, yesterday's home plate umpire Larry Young on the right field line.
That's going to be real important for Colon tonight. As much as he throws hard, he's a guy with great command. If he can get a generous outside corner like that, he'll be a handful.
Trying for the same spot.
I don't think there's any question in this game. Colon's going to have to use both halves of the plate like he did that last at bat against Ramirez. And he can't just sit there and throw fastballs either. He's going to have to, he's going to have to mix in a slider, mix in a changeup to keep these guys off balance.
Shortstop Eckstein almost directly behind second base. Inside. Roll.
I honestly think that Bartolo Colon is going to have to pitch twice as well as Pedro Martinez is tonight to win this ball game, because you take a look at Anaheim, they're just all banged up. We saw Vladimir trying to run down the right field line. We know that Garrett Anderson's not healthy. Troy Glaus cannot play third base. Boston is healthy.
Ortiz with a good eye there. Colon doesn't get that call, and now it's 3-1. And Mike Scioscia.
I was really surprised, Boomer, to see the first pitch called a strike, because I'll tell you why. Normally, Jerry Meals has one of the tightest strike zones in all of baseball. When he gave Bartolo Colon that first pitch, all of a sudden Bartolo thought, well, you know what, I can go back there again. Well, by going back to that very same location, he's falling behind in the count.
Now, maybe a meal ticket on a 3-1 pitch for Ortiz. Yeah. One of them hit, a couple of them didn't. Well, Bartolo Colon, has he ever struggled in the first inning of a start in the playoffs against the Red Sox? Well, yes, he has. 5 years ago, 1999, pitching for Cleveland, 1+ innings, 7 earned runs, 6 hits. He was gone. Boston 23, Cleveland 7, forcing a 5th game, which then Boston won. That's a long time ago, but yet. And there's only really Veritek and Trot Nixon in the lineup that played in that game. That was Garcia Perrin, Moe, etc.
But Boomer, as you well know, that was the first time in Colon's career he ever pitched on short rest. It didn't work.
Just putting it up there because it happened, and Boston now has the bases loaded for Trot Nixon. Broken bat. Certainly not going to be deep enough, I wouldn't think. Devannon there and left. Damon bluffs. But no way. Out number 2.
Again, working on that outside corner. Rod Nixon just kind of got under it a little bit, and
looked like he tried to pull it a little bit.
Yeah. Vannon makes the catch and makes the throw, keeping Damon at third base. So now Colon's 1 out away from getting out of a pretty tough jam in the first inning. We got a tough hitter in Millar coming up.
His power numbers the second half of the season, right around the end of June, are completely, almost all that power came the last 3 months of the year. 3 months, a little bit. 2-run homer yesterday in the 4th inning. Bases loaded. 2 out. Top of the first. Strike 1.
Now, Boomer, I think the guy that deserves credit for that turnaround in the second half for Kevin Millar is the young manager, Terry Francona. He had a lot of other options with David McCarty. He could have gone with Ortiz at first base, but he stuck with him, and it paid off. Like he said in our managers meeting before the game, Millar's been in the top handful of hitters in the American League since that break.
2-0, 0-2. This was yesterday in the 4th inning off of Jared Washburn to left, and that started the Red Sox onslaught on that 7-run 4th. Oh boy, these fans, they want to make sure that this team comes back here. They're doing their darndest.
I think they sense how important this game is.
We didn't really get this feel yesterday, but we got it tonight.
He's starting to sense that 0 up in the top of the 1st.
Now 50,000 people punched him out.
I'm telling you, Boomer, he's tight. He gave that one on the first pitch to Ortiz, and I couldn't believe it. He's not going to give you anything, and that clearly should not have been called.
I think that Mike Scioscia's facial expressions are priceless already.
Well, I know one thing as a coach, that's one of the reasons why you hesitate in setting up late like that, because the umpire's going to shift when you shift. And you want to really give him a good look. If you're the catcher, you want to give him a good look at whether or not he hits you dead center in the glove. Because a lot of times you hit dead center in the glove, that's going to be a ball that maybe you can get. But if you're shifting late, sometimes he's shifting late too. Sometimes he doesn't get a good look at it.
Well, this should be a good pitch here because you want to throw a strike. You don't want the runners going with 2 outs and 3-2.
Damon Bellhorn Ortiz on board. And now, not only are they on board, everybody moving. Already the best play in baseball coming up, and we're in the top of the 1st. 3-2, bases loaded, 2 outs. Everybody moving at once.
Now, see, you might think that, and I'm sure, you know, a former hitter would think that. This isn't a fun spot for a pitcher.
Everybody moving.
I like that 0-2 pitch with 2 outs and nobody on. That's exciting to me.
Ground ball to short. Eckstein going to go to first to Erstad, and the Angels wriggle out of it. The Red Sox leave the bases loaded, heading to the bottom of the 1st, charged up in Southern California. The Red Sox had the bases full but couldn't bust through against Bartolo Colon. Now it's Anaheim's opportunity. At Mike Scioscia's lineup tonight, Sean Figgins leads off and plays at second base. Had a hit yesterday. Darren Erstad, 3 for 4 with a homer, hit second. Vlad Guerrero looking for his first postseason hit, hits third. Garrett Anderson, the collar yesterday, is at cleanup. Troy Gloss, his home run is still traveling, I believe, down the 405. Jeff Devannon is in left field hitting 6th. Dallas McPherson, told you about him, big-time minor league player with a big bat at 3rd. Jose Molina, 1 year younger than his brother Benji Molina, catches tonight. David Eckstein had a hit yesterday at shortstop against the man that's won 3 Cy Youngs, 1 in Montreal and 2 here with Boston. Pedro Martinez, 16-9 on this season.
Yeah, but with an ERA of 3.90, that is the highest in the career, minor leagues included, for Pedro Martinez. We've talked about him 0-4 in his last 4 starts in September. He was only in 7-6 with an ERA of 4.6 since the All-Star break. Mechanically, he's not sound.
Hands away with Sean Figgins with a strike. So let's see for Pedro. We showed you in the beginning his last 4 starts were, well, abysmal by anybody's standards, but induces Figgins with a little hopper to second. Bellhorn makes it 1 down. Kyle Peterson working with us down on the field. Kyle, good evening.
Good evening, Boomer. Yeah, we talked about the problems of Pedro Martinez, guys. The 4 losses he had in the month of September, the most he's had in any month over the course of his entire career. And the problem has been tied to home runs a lot this year, too, guys. Last year, 7 home runs given up over the entire season. This year, guys, 26. And, Boomer, 8 of those have come in the 1st inning.
Well, thank you, Kyle. There's some guys here, Erstad, Guerrero, and Anderson, that could easily hit them. We know that. How about the way Darren Erstad comes to play in these money games? Huh? Biggest hit for the year, the 2-run double to tie Saturday's game in Oakland. Game ended up the Angels winning in Oakland and winning the pennant. 3 hits yesterday, even though they were, quote, out of it. I mean, you can sign him up for any team we ever manage, own, or
no question,
root for.
This guy, he comes to play. He's a little banged up like a lot of these starters for the California or for Anaheim Angels. See him nodding his head there. He chased the ball out of the zone, but yesterday he was crisp. He hit the ball on the button.
Well, no surprise. He was 25 of 69 in that magical 2002 postseason, and 3 for 4 yesterday. So you want clutch, you've got a guy here at the plate, young man from North Dakota.
You know, Tony, he's one of those guys that just loves these moments and these situations. Not everybody does. I mean, Tony, it's got to have something to do with confidence.
Yeah, and you know, you get to these situations and you get to the postseason, you're facing the best of the best a lot of the time, and you got to really believe that you can step up there and get it done.
Kevin Millar plays first base, and Pedro over nicely. Boston showing some defense. I told you, Millar's looking like Don Mattingly. I can't believe it. Here's the defense tonight for Boston, with Nixon in right field is the real change.
Yeah, this lineup is exactly the same as yesterday, with the exception of Nixon being in right field. You see, he missed 102 games this year. But I expect this guy to have a good postseason. Even though he's missed a lot of games, he's a knowledgeable right fielder. He knows these hitters, knows how to play them, and I think offensively, it wouldn't surprise me at all if he has a big postseason.
That had didn't miss too many games.
No.
Well, Vlad Guerrero swinging through. They were teammates just at the end, Sut. Vlad coming up and Pedro finishing up in Montreal in '97.
You know, and Vladimir talks a lot about how Pedro taught him to be a big leaguer. He taught him how to dress. He bought him clothes. He also returned the favor. When Pedro and the Red Sox came to town in August, Vladimir invited Pedro to his house to have his mom, Vladimir's mom, cook for both of them. I mean, it was a special day for both of them, and obviously Pedro has had a lot to do with Vladimir and his success.
I just hope that success doesn't boil into tonight. 1-1 pitch. Working away. Looks like pretty good pop thus far for Pedro Martinez. Welcome to Game 2. If you're just tuning in, the Red Sox and the Anaheim Angels. Boston had the bases loaded in the first inning, but could not score against Bartolo Colon. Chris Berman, Rick Sutcliffe, Tony Gwynn. We're happy that you're aboard. Kyle Peterson working down on the field with us. Had him fishing there. I don't know if they served seafood that night, but.
And that's the thing with, Pedro knows, Vladimir might chase a ball out of the zone. This one he starts it in, runs it out.
You better run it out a long ways because he can reach further than most.
Up top of the count is full to Vladimir Guerrero.
See, even though Pedro might not have his best stuff or might not have thrown as well as we know him to throw, he still can get people out. He doesn't have to have his best stuff to have success.
Angels with a base runner. Pedro careful with Guerrero. Guerrero waits him out for a walk. So Pedro Martinez, this is his 8th postseason start. He's actually appeared once in relief, and that was at Game 5 of that Cleveland series.
Boomer, you mentioned Don Mattingly instead of Millar. Give me a close-up of his face right now. You know what they might be doing? That might be Doug Mankiewicz in a Millar uniform. No? Oh, you're
And
not
the beard is...
no, that's Millar. You're right.
Dougie's
right.
a little thinner beard, isn't he?
He's sure playing like Doug Mankiewicz out there defensively.
See, that's close. In there for a strike to Garrett Anderson, who went 0 for 4 yesterday. Garrett is such a sweet swing when everything is working. It doesn't look like he's putting any effort into it. And then remember when he won that home run derby a couple of years ago? Was that a homer?
Yeah.
Was that a homer? Was that a homer?
Right now, I think his legs are bothering him, and he's just not able to swing the bat like he'd like to swing.
That's not even close.
He's starting him out with a changeup away and then fastball away, and then.
Well, there's a couple of things bothering Tony. You mentioned that back knee.
Yep.
He's not able to stay on it and stay back as long as he'd like. Also, those arthritic shoulders that he has heavily medicated for just so he could get back in the lineup before he hurt the knee.
Wow. Guess what? There's some pop in Pedro tonight. No score through 1.
All right, back at Yankee Stadium, Gary Sheffield has a home run in this game, but he grounds out to end the 10th, so we are on to the 11th in the Bronx. We will keep you updated as it goes along.
All right, Ravi, thank you very much. Top of the second here. Red Sox had the bases loaded in the first against Bartolo Colon, but Kevin Millar grounded to short, stranded 3 runners. Now the bottom third of the order. Veritek, Cabrera, Miller will take their crack at it. Veritek, just an outstanding season for the heart and soul of this team. Hitting almost 300. You see the power numbers, catching, and he, as we said yesterday, is such a grinder. So, I mean, the catching position is such a grinding position anyway, but I mean, I don't know if he has any stuff left on his teeth. I just wonder if he grinds the teeth the way he plays. He's a dentist's dream, I think.
You know, a guy who was told to quit talking about him, though, telling us yesterday, was manager Terry Francona. Veritek's a free agent at the end of the year.
Wow,
the front office said, you got to quit bragging on him. You keep driving the price up.
Yeah, they can't lose him. They know that. But he and the other decisions to be made will happen after all this is over.
Yeah, but don't you agree that they're going to get him taken care of and then see how much money they have left over for the others?
Absolutely. Theo knows that. Theo Epstein, the general manager. Terry knows that, but they're not worried about it right now. 2-2 the count. Leadoff man, top second. That fights it off. Bartolo Colon, listed at 5'11", 250. But they say it's Mike Scioscia telling me at the cage that don't be looking out there on a day he doesn't pitch. He likes to shag flies, run around, fields a position well. I mean, he looks like he just bunted and he won't be able to move off the mound. It's not the case at all.
He's a hard worker. I like to get here early and watch him work during batting practice, and he does. He shags 5 balls and does a lot of exercises and stuff. And being that we kind of have the same body, I know what he's gone through. You
have to work hard.
You got to work at it.
Throw as many innings as he does.
And he does. He works at it.
It's Veritek. Second strikeout for Colon. 1 down here in the second. Talking about his body, do you think he would fit in our booth?
I think us 3 have got it pretty much. We got it wired in here. But you see the run on the fastball. He needs to make a pitch. He's been able to make a pitch. So far, that ball's running away.
And he'll have those shin guards on and the chest protector in about 2 pitches. Goes back quickly, put it on, get ready. Here's Orlando Cabrera. Teammate of Colon's. When Bartolo pitched for half the 2002 season in Montreal, coming over in a late June trade from Cleveland. So Colon, a teammate of Vlad Guerrero before this year, a half season in Montreal, and a teammate of this man at the plate, Orlando Cabrera, the shortstop.
Doesn't it seem like a lot of these good players around the league have come from the Expos organization?
Because they can't afford them.
It's amazing.
They, as far as the scouting department went in the last 10, 12 years, pretty darn good.
Really good.
That's hit well to center field, but Garrett Anderson is there to flag it down. 2 up, 2 down.
You know, there's another one up there in Montreal that you'd love to see get an opportunity for the postseason. He won't with the Expos, but that's Jose Vidro, Tony.
Yeah, no question. Switch hitter with some power. I mean, and I've seen it here for, the last 20 years. The Expos, probably more so than just about any other organization, because they knew players, when they got to free agency, were going to leave. They knew they had to develop their own, and that's their product is all over Major League Baseball. Guys, almost every team either started out with the Expos or had played with the Expos at some point.
The Twins are taking that page now.
Yeah,
They've
absolutely.
picked that up.
Yeah.
I've heard the Expos described as like a high school team that every year the seniors are going to leave.
Meanwhile, nothing high schoolish about Bartolo Colon this inning. 2 strikes to Billy Miller, who went hitless in 4 trips to the plate yesterday.
I told you he's tight. I I told you, I'm guessing this ball's probably maybe 2 inches off the outside corner.
And he set up early, too, and he put it right where he was asking for it and did not get the call.
Now, will the ump get up? I mean, you know what this face is, but will the ump get upset with Jose Molina for doing that?
Keeps jumping out of there like he did. I'm sure he's going to mumble something under that mask and probably has every right to do that.
Fisted over the head of Figgins, so Miller with a base hit.
That right there, Tony, is how you win a batting title.
That's correct.
Miller, a long line of batting titles for the Boston Red Sox, picked up one a year ago.
You see him work his hands to the inside there. Just got the barrel of the bat on it, put it in play. A nice job of hitting right there. And, you know, we talked about, you know, the umpire getting upset there. You know, Mike Scioscia and the catcher Molina both aren't going to say anything, but Miller was able to work his way around and score. Now you can bet Mr. Mills is going to start to hear it.
Here's Johnny Damon again. Started the game with a base hit, ended up stranded at third. Damon through his career has hit Cologne very well. Inching towards 400. You believe in those things.
Not the one that Jose Molina wanted, though.
No.
He wanted that 2-strike pitch to Bill Miller to end the inning, because you gain a lot of momentum when you strike out the last guy at home, Tony.
Yep.
It's almost always where your team is able to give you the lead when you go back out. He wanted that strikeout.
No. Damon fouling it off. His own cologne on the ball. You know, that fall hit New England yesterday, boys. It's going to be a little chilly. That hair is going to come in handy at Fenway for Johnny. Pack a sweater, Tony. Release the vest. All righty. Damon staying alive.
See Bartolo Colon staying away from Johnny Damon.
Keeps having to duck his head every time Mills is throwing a ball there. They don't have this choreographed yet.
He's not going to make a mistake inside. Johnny Damon knows his numbers against Colon. Colon knows his numbers too against Damon. So far, he hasn't been willing to make a pitch inside.
Damon with another base hit, and Miller running with 2 outs. And Damon takes a big turn, goes back to first again. Damon coming through, so now that's what, 4 straight hits for him. In the last couple of bats yesterday, 2 more today, and the Red Sox in business again.
Boomer, you said it yesterday when the ball game began that you thought Johnny Damon would be the key. Most people think that Ichiro Suzuki right now is the best leadoff hitter in baseball, but you have to say that Johnny Damon, even with all of the hits Ichiro got, Tony, he's had the best year.
Yep.
We're talking 20 home runs. We're talking over 120 runs scored. We're talking 94 RBIs leading off.
Yep.
Although 262 hits isn't bad.
262
Tony,
hits.
what does that mean? I mean, to you, even a guy who won 8 batting titles, what does that mean to you?
Well, I think the number 262 is just hard to imagine. It, you know, to put it in perspective for me, you know, most guys, when they get their 200th hit, they kind of take a deep breath and say, oh, all right, I made it. He had it before we hit September 1st. So, you know, in his mindset, he was, you know, going for this record. And
he knew where that bar was.
He knew where it was, and you got to tip your cap. I mean, he had a great season. He was able to do it.
Mark Bellhorn up, runners on the corner. They appeal, no, says Ed Montague down at third.
For the first time tonight, you know, Molina turned around and had a couple of words for Mr. Mills behind the plate. Again, it goes back to that bat against Miller. They thought they had him struck out. And a couple of base hits later,
He's at third.
he's at third, and then the Angels are in jeopardy of giving up a run that they felt like they had, struck out at the plate on a strike 3.
Well, Colon had the bases loaded on him in the first inning with 1 out, but got Trot Nixon to fly to shallow left, and Millard to bounce to short. Now, 2 on, 2 out. He's working on Bellhorn. Bellhorn walks a lot, and as we said yesterday, set the Red Sox single-season record for strikeouts with 177, breaking the old mark by Butch Hobson, set in the mid-'80s.
The other thing that happens too is that it starts to run that pitch count up for Colon. We're only in the bottom of the second inning, sitting at 44 pitches already.
Three and 1, and guess who's on deck?
Yeah, choose your poison right now. You challenge Bellhorn, I think you have to.
I think you do too.
You'd like to think outer half of the plate, make him use the big part of the ballpark, but you have to throw a strike here because of the man in the on-deck circle.
Already, we've only seen an inning and a half, an inning and 2/3, but Colon has really had to work to get outs. Pedro's only thrown one inning, but he made it look relatively easy.
There goes Damon, and he'll get there anyway because now the bases are loaded for Manny Ramirez. Well, these guys were teammates in Cleveland for a long time. And now a quick visit from one of the best in the business, the pitching coach, Bud Black.
Just an opportunity now to give Colon time to catch his breath. There's really nothing you can tell him. You knew going into the game that the strike zone was going to be small. Bud Black might just make a little comment to the home plate umpire saying, hey, we've seen it on video. You missed a couple of calls, which really isn't the truth. But, Tony, that's what you say to the guy right now.
I just love what they do now here with the glove over there. Schilling, you saw yes, it's like the cone of silence. They're Maxwell Smart. Strike.
It's a good opportunity to get the frustration.
You don't think they love the smell of leather?
Now this is his home run in game number 1 with 2 aboard. So the Red Sox, who stranded, they didn't strand any there, they stranded 9 yesterday, despite the fact they got 9 runs. They stranded the bases loaded in the first inning. And now here we are again with Bill Miller at third, Johnny Damon at second, Mark Bellhorn at first, and the Red Sox with a golden opportunity here. Down the right field side, going deep. Ooh, and in Maxwell Smart fashion, missed it by that much. Oh boy.
Long way down that line. It looked like that ball was going to stay fair. It looked like right at the last second.
Oh, to get away with throwing one there to Manny Ramirez.
Oh, there it is. Missed it by a few feet.
I think too, the guy behind home plate yesterday was Larry Young. And when you go to the outfield, Tony, you kind of feel like you're going to get a night off.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like judging a pitch on the outside corner.
Well, Manny is the 5th most all-time regular season grand slams at 17. We almost saw a postseason grand.
Well, he's hit 17 postseason home runs, so he's well on his way to taking the lead in that category.
And that last line, too. I mean, it was a good pitch in. This looks like a pretty good pitch right there. He just not going to get that call, it looks like.
Mike Scioscia's sat back there, and he knows what his strike zone's all about.
There just aren't many safe zones to go to with Manny Ramirez.
1-1 the count. Bases loaded. Now, 1-2.
Yeah, he's been able to run that fastball or that sinker down and in on Manny Ramirez.
Struck him out in the first inning. Can he get another one? Everybody on their feet.
That's amazing arm strength to still be throwing in the low 90s after you've thrown 26 pressure-packed pitches here in the top of the second. That's that conditioning, Tony, you were talking about.
2-2.
Not a bad idea here on the part of Jose Molina. What he's doing now is he's going out to change the signs. You got a veteran team. They score a lot of runs. Sometimes they can pick up the sequence that a young catcher is using. Sometimes they can pick up location. And, you know, with Manny Ramirez at home plate, he doesn't need any help.
He doesn't need any help, but that doesn't stop some of these guys sometimes. Passing that information on if they can.
He's so good. That's the exact same pitch that he struck out on in his first at bat.
Yep.
Take a look at it, Tony. It's that two-seam fastball down and in. He chased it early, and he makes that adjustment.
And now, for the second time tonight, sorry, Sut, the most exciting play in baseball. 3-2, 2 outs, bases loaded, everybody moving. They will move home 90 feet. Ball 4, second walk in a row, plates Bill Miller. 1-0 Red Sox, and Mike Scioscia is, he could fry an egg, I think, on top of his head right now.
They're pretty upset right now. Starts out innocently enough. Yeah, that was a ball that Manny did a great job of almost hitting out of here. But Colon's not missing by much here, Rick.
Well, you look at that two-seam fastball. There was a little cut fastball. Now he comes back down and in. And just the discipline that Manny Ramirez showed there. And then on that pitch, Tony, you can see it in the K zone almost until the last moment. But somehow, Manny Ramirez could see that.
And now the dangerous David Ortiz is up. Ortiz with 41 home runs. Second only to Ramirez's 43 in the American League.
I'll tell you what, I think Jose Molina running off with what he thought was strike 3 on Miller. I mean, he has really tightened that zone up, even tighter than it normally is for Jerry Meals at home plate.
I'm going to tell you, a conversation I had with the manager, and I'm not going to say which one. It was just that we were just talking. One of the Angels coaches, Jerry Meals goes, "Oh, that's not." He goes, "That's probably not the right for Bartolo Colon." I'm not going to say which one said it, but certainly an hour later, that's proven thus far to be true.
That's a lot. He's halfway to his total right now, and he's only gotten 5 outs.
There's a snap throw. What a play by Molina as they get Bellhorn just napping. What a critical mistake by the Red Sox, and a heads-up play by Molina. That's one way to get out of a bases-loaded situation with only 1 run scored. Don't you go away. Wow, the excitement here in Anaheim. These first couple innings, you can cut it with a knife. Meanwhile, Troy Glaus steps to the plate. Perfect at the plate yesterday as DH, 3 for 3. His home run still traveling. Hit the backbone, went over both bullpens in left field. He said, though, you know, it only counts for one. Pedro Martinez, an efficient first inning, and you know what the crowd's thinking now. Now he's getting the calls. Where is it for Bartolo Colon? Any truth to it?
No, those were both strikes. Pedro knows what he's dealing with behind home plate. I mean, it's as small as the strike zone can get. So he's going to change speeds, he's going to add late movement, and he's going to stay in that small box because he knows, Tony, he's going to have some runs to work with.
I totally agree with you. No sense pulling balls way out of zone. He's going to start them in, run it out, just like that last pitch. It's not going to be up in the zone, way out of the zone. He's going to try to keep it in the zone and give these Angel hitters something that they think they can swing at and put in play, and he's going to let his defense work for him.
Count full to Glaus. Step out for a minute. Yep, Jose Molina, and that he caught Bellhorn napping, although there's more to it, and after this batter we'll show you. Glaus comes a base on balls. You know, part of that play, Sutton, I'll let you take over. The shift on Ortiz has Eckstein right behind second base.
Take a look at the sign, though. I mean, Eckstein was there, and you could see Molina. They had some communication. I mean, there was a sign that was passed along from the catcher to the shortstop. You see Eckstein getting right in line there. You saw Bellhorn fall down. No excuse whatsoever for what happened to Bellhorn, but credit has to go to Molina for putting that sign on.
One of the few not happy in the crowd, the Red Sox general manager, Theo Epstein. Jeff Devannon hit this in the foul. I got a nice story about Devannon. You're going to love this, Tony, because I know how close you were with the late Ted Williams. He told me before the game yesterday that, you know, he has the oldest Ted Williams autograph. I said, now, how do you know that? You're a young man. He says, well, I grew up in San Diego. So did my grandfather. Grew up in the same neighborhood as Ted Williams. They were all high school chums, boyhood chums. And the deal was, as Pedro worked from the stretch, the deal was they all, the 4 or 5 guys all signed baseballs. And they all gave it to each other just in case any one of them got famous. They were 16 years old. So he has a Ted Williams signed baseball that his grandfather gave to his dad, gave to him. That Ted signed a PCL baseball when Ted was 16 years old, just in case any of those guys got famous. He goes, boy, I got it in a very safe place. It's a great story. However, he swung through that one. That baseball, not a PCL ball, it's 1 and 2.
I'm going to say that baseball not going to help him any trying to hit off Pedro Martinez. When he gets a young hitter at home plate, I mean, he becomes like a surgeon, man. There's so many weapons that he has and ways to go about getting them out, Tony.
With this Angel lineup, you expect him.
Devannon, inside out like a good lefty hitter will do. Maybe the ball does pay some dividend. All of a sudden, Anaheim in business with 2 on and none out. Again, let's look back at this play one more time from Bellhorn's angle that got the Angels out of a pickle.
Well, he slips a little bit, Tony. You can see him out here taking that secondary lead. But all of a sudden, when Molina comes up so quick, you can see Eckstein blocking the path. I mean, I just give a lot of credit to Mike Scioscia for having that play. I mean, they knew Colon was struggling. They were looking for a way to get him out of it. And that's almost like Molina hitting a grand slam homer himself.
You're right. And you know, the pitch to Ortiz was a ball, too. So, you know, Molina comes up and really gets them out of a jam, gets Colon back on the bench where hopefully he can regroup.
Young Dallas McPherson swings through that, 24 years of age. Only played a handful of games, 16 games with the Angels this year, but in the minors, split evenly with Double-A Arkansas. What are they, the Travelers and the Salt Lake City Buzz. combined 40 homers, 126 RBIs, 317 in 135 games, 36 doubles, 14 triples. Minor League Player of the Year, according to Sporting. But again, Pedro Martinez didn't pitch in Double-A or Triple-A this year.
With just 40 at-bats at the big league level, Tony, there's already a report on him that he can't hit the off-speed stuff. He's a great fastball hitter, but there's 2 change-ups that he was way out in front of. I mean, you can go up and out of the zone with a fastball or go right back to something soft again.
And to think about it, he hadn't seen a changeup like this in the minor league, no matter what level he's played at. Pretty good bet he's going to see something off speed here if Pedro decides to go for it.
And that's the thing, Pedro, they talked about his side session, how it was so much better. Well, the reason why his rotation was better, which means he's getting the feel for that changeup back.
Fouled away.
Just a little showpiece there.
Yes. That was for show.
Well, we've had all sorts of excitement thus far here with the Red Sox getting a run on a bases-loaded walk, but having an opportunity with the bases loaded in each inning. But only getting that 1 run. Chris Berman, Rick Sutcliffe, Tony Gwynn with you here, and Kyle Peterson. Game 2 of this ALDS. Won yesterday by the Red Sox, the lid lifter 9-3. Angels in business with 2 on and none out against Pedro Martinez.
You know, the difference that I've seen in Pedro right now, Boomer and Tony, I see the same arm angle. I see the same arm speed. I see the same pull with that left arm, which is where he generates a lot of his power. But I don't see that drive. I don't see him pushing off with that right foot like he has in the past. He's pretty much just coming right at the hitter and in a set position. I mean, he used to just attack that zone coming off that mound.
A couple of pitches up there in the speed in the first inning, but that's not so much here, Sut.
Watch his back foot. See how it's kind of angled in there so that he's got some drive, but that thing normally used to just explode off above it. Tony, it's just kind of dragging right now. He reached back on that pitch right there. That was 95 miles an hour, but he's not consistently doing that with that back foot.
Going the other way, and coming on is Manny Ramirez. He won't get it. Here comes Gloss lumbering to the plate. Tied at 1. So the unknown Angels, Jeff Devannon, Dallas McPherson coming through against Pedro, and we have a tie ball game.
I don't know where McPherson's going to play next year. If they re-sign Troy Glaus, he'll be the third baseman. But, Tony, this kid is going to play in the big leagues. That's quite an adjustment there to get that changeup.
Absolutely. And as you saw, it was off the plate. And he didn't try to do too much with it. He just put it in play.
How about the Angels, almost like a good football team after a turnover, going for the jugular.
I mean,
the Bellhorn mishap, and now here they are.
That's absolutely right. You get out of that last jam where it looked like Cologne was starting to struggle, and you get a great pickoff to get you out of it, and then you turn right around and tie the ball game.
Here's the guy that made the pickoff throw, Jose Molina, charging in at the corners to bunt to Pedro over to third base. And they get the force. They bunted too far, and Pedro fielded beautifully. There's 1 out. Matt Weiner is in the studio. Matt?
Hi, Boomer. Torrey Hunter was the hero last night defensively for the Twins in Game 1. In the 12th, Tanyan Sturtz trying to get his team to the bottom half, but he gave up the goods against Hunter, went for the solo shot, 6-5. Still 1 out left in the top half.
Made the catch. Thank you, Matt. They made the catch last night.
Made the throw last night.
Made the Yankee fans
a little nervous.
Bite their nails. Wow. So here's David Eckstein. Still runners at first and second. No other thought on that. We'll get back to here. Boy, we did the Twins last week, and, questioning Santana, did he pitch enough? They should have won a game. Maybe Ron Gardenhire, dumb like a fox. Tell you what, I got Santana and Radke. I feel pretty good with them anywhere. Maybe 3-4 would have my other pitchers. I'd rather have them at home. Maybe the way it's worked out thus far, we'll see. to the outfield shallow, and now Pedro 2-0.
Well, all three outfielders shallow it up a little bit. Very rare when Eckstein really drives a ball.
Well, it's a good thing Molina made that throw, because that was a poor bunt attempt trying to get the runners into scoring position. Socia in our managers meeting talked about Devannon not getting the guy over in yesterday's game. He thought that could have been big to have gotten something on the board, tied the game up. They didn't get it done. They didn't execute in that last situation.
Yeah. And that's really one of the things this team is known for.
And they have to do that.
Yeah, because they have to. And that's exactly right. In order for them to have success, they've got to be able to execute in those situations.
Well, what you're saying, guys, both is for an American League team, this is a National League team. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
They're just outmanned, particularly once Troy Glass hits, because when you get to that point, you've got inexperience, right, and you've got lack of power.
Yeah, and we had guys that weren't here 2 years ago being asked to do stuff that team was able to do.
Eckstein drives it pretty well to center. There's Johnny Damon.
The sac fly that drives in a run. Yep. You get the sac bunt down.
Yep. But everybody's standing where they are. McPherson second. Molina at first, and now there's 2 down.
Well, the whole big thing in Pedro Martinez's night thus far was the battle with Troy Glass. You see the easy first inning. He walked Vladimir Guerrero on a 3-2 pitch, but he walked Glass on a 3-2 pitch. That was a different story. Vladimir was with 2 outs and nobody on. Troy Glass started the inning with a walk. Tony, those almost always score, don't they?
The old sign they used to have in Cincinnati: walks will always hunt. Will come back to hunt. No question. That's been a reminder my whole career.
Person at second, Molina at first. Sean Figgins grounded a second to start the game. That's wide of the first base coach. One of our favorites from years past. Slick fielding shortstop, second base. Shortstop, really. Fettuccine Alfredo Griffin, first base coach for the Angels. Get good hands, huh?
He was all teeth when you called him that before the game.
Hey, Fettuccine, he does. From the old days.
You're right, Rick. He had a huge smile on his face.
There's no question who was calling him. Good pitch there, Pedro.
Well, it was a good pitch. The fans aren't real happy with it. They think it was a lot like the one that was not called for Cologne. You take a look at it there, and it just gets a piece of it. And a nice job by Veritek to hold it there, not take it out of the zone, and then try to bring it back.
And the Red Sox trying to dip behind the base runner a la Anaheim. Appeal? No. Ed Montague's waved a couple of them off already. We're going to geometry class now with this thing, huh? What is that, a trapezoid?
It's a nightmare for me trying to figure that out.
What is that?
That's the imaginary zone.
I know what it is.
We've got battles going on tonight. Pedro trying to get out of this inning. Lack of execution by Anaheim. First and second, nobody out. Couldn't get the bunt down. Got the runner forced at third. Now they need a 2-out hit. Had a little bit of everything in the first 2 innings.
High cheese, and Figgins waves, 2 stranded. But the Angels do ring the bell once after they pick off the bell horn, and they even the series at 1.
Un día bueno, todo se ve relativamente fácil, que estás en comando de todo lo que está pasando en el terreno. Hoy es un día donde tú sabes que la victoria la puedes sentir. Esos son los días donde las cosas especiales pasan. I live for this.
October, 8 teams, 1 champion. Watch the World Series. Don't miss it.
ESPN's Major League Baseball Division Series, presented by Budweiser. Brought to you by Sony and the new network Walkman player. Sony, like no other. And Mercury and your local Lincoln Mercury dealers.
Well, Haven't dialed that number recently. 1-800-THE-BABE. You know, usually that's reserved just to New York, right? 1918 signs all over the place in Boston Place. It's amazing now if it's going to come out here 3,000 miles and they're going to start showing Babe Ruth pictures here in Anaheim. But it is the postseason and anything goes. David Ortiz was at the plate when Mark Bellhorn was picked off second base. So now he's up again, but bad news for him in Boston. There's nobody on. We begin the third, a 1-1 game. Chris Berman, Rick Sutcliffe, Tony Gwynn, Kyle Peterson, and our ESPN crew. Ortiz sends this one a mile high. Garrett Anderson in center field at the track. Hauls it in. You know, that one brought the fog in, I think.
You mentioned that nobody was on, but when a guy hits 41 home runs, I feel like there's a man in scoring position.
Right. Hey, in a day game, well, here's the pitch. A day game, is this trend? That's hard to say.
Is it out of here?
Yeah.
No, I would say yes, it's out of here.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question. I think there's at least 15 to 20 feet of carry.
Yeah. This kind of haze hanging over the ballpark right now. Well, the ball's not going to carry nearly as good.
This ball hit well by Trot Nixon, or so we thought, but since it's the other way, not as far, and Gavanin is there. I make two observations about night versus day game here in Anaheim. First of all, now, of course, Boston had a 7-run fourth, but ball carries unbelievably in the day, and the sun's out. It's just the crowd, but the sun went down, and the decibel level went up about 30.
Yeah.
But just less balls are going to go out of the park. Huh?
Yep.
That's our weather, our meteorologic report for the evening. Some of the volcanic ashes from Mount St. Helens sifting their way down the coast here. Can't believe that's spouting again.
Well, Cologne would like to sift his way through an easier inning than what he's had in the first two.
Yes, he would. He's 2/3 there.
He keeps pounding that fastball in there and not getting any cooperation from Mr. Mills behind the plate.
Well, I think Cologne has to adjust.
I think you're right.
I mean, you can throw something with late movement, but you need to quit being too fine.
Rip but foul. Cologne is no stranger to the postseason. This is his 7th postseason start. 3 of his 6 previous, well, now 4 of his 7 have been against Boston. Oddly enough, one of them in 1998, which his Cleveland Indians beat the Red Sox in 4 games. 1999, he had 2 of them, one which we showed you. In that series, Boston came from behind and mashed him and beat him 3 games to 2. So that's a while ago. And again, I wonder what you draw on. If you haven't been in postseason for a while, you're a pitcher, is there something you can draw on even 5 years later, even if you're a different pitcher, a different player?
Oh, yeah, you broke the ice. Yeah, you know what it's like, and you're even thirstier to get back there and try to improve on the success that you've already had. I mean, he was 2-2 in the postseason with a good ERA. You know, he just pitched 1 time on less than normal rest, and it was a mistake on the part of the front office. But this means even more to Cologne than any other postseason start because of who he's pitching against. I mean, him and Pedro Martinez are as close as they come. I mean, they call each other compadres. You go to Cologne's house, his trophy room, the picture right in the middle is Cologne and Pedro. Doesn't mean a whole lot right now.
Not right now.
They want to beat each other.
That's exactly right. Talk about Guerrero inviting these guys to their house to eat and stuff. You see them here shaking hands.
Nice. Very nice. Earlier before the game.
Wishing each other luck.
And then can't talk.
But believe me, when they cross those white lines out there, that's business.
Now the count is full. I'm sorry, guys.
Both guys want to win. There's no question.
Both guys have won an awful lot in their career. 31, 32 years of age. You have to figure there's more to come. You just don't know where it's going to come for Pedro. Free agent. Cologne's not going anywhere.
Ripped, but right at Eckstein. And so a 1-2-3 inning for Bartolo Colon. 1-1 to the bottom of the 3rd. Those Thundersticks working hard early tonight. A hard day's night for these Thundersticks as the Angels and Red Sox are 1-1, bottom of the third inning. As Pedro Martinez now has watched Colon have his first 1-2-3 inning. Pedro has not yet had one. Faces the meat of the Anaheim order. Darren Erstad, Vladimir Guerrero, Garrett Anderson, 2-3-4.
They talk about Tony Erstad never swinging at that first pitch. What do you think your percentage was swinging at the first pitch over your career?
Early in my career, I would say 80%, 85%. I didn't swing at the first one, but you got to know pitchers, you got a little more experience. I would just say that changed to probably about 60%.
Erstad the other way, right at Manny Ramirez. And Erstad's gone.
Erstad said that he spent 500 at-bats setting up that game-tying double that he hit off of Oakland on Saturday. He hadn't swung at the first pitch all year long, and he did on that at-bat, driving in 2 runs to tie it up. And then, of course, Garrett Anderson with that seeing eye single, which was the biggest RBI that clinched the American League West for him.
Vladimir Guerrero walked in the first inning, still looking for his first hit. Postseason for 5 yesterday. Should come soon, although Pedro Martinez doesn't feel that way. It's a good-looking helmet, huh? Oh, ball was got some hair on it on the right field line.
Both ways. Pedro throwing it up there to the plate.
Look at that. Now, if you put your hand on that to kind of adjust it on your head, that's like Lester Hayes' stickum, isn't it?
That's getting a nice grip for your bat. So he doesn't wear batting gloves.
Hits this ball well to center. Johnny Damon going back to the track, but tracks it down to the deepest part of the park. And it goes as a long out. Getting close.
He just missed that, too. I mean, he put as good a swing on this as you can. Starts it in the zone, runs it out. He catches it right off the end of the bat. But that's not bad. Just a little bit out in front of that.
You know, Mike Scioscia saying before the game that he thought Vlad just missed hitting 3 home runs in the ball game yesterday. So he's getting closer.
Meanwhile, 2 out, nobody on. Garrett Anderson looks at ball 1. Pedro Martinez regular season record 182-76. Of any pitcher in the history of the majors with 200 decisions, he has the best percentage, 705. That's, you know, the history of him. Just wondered what you were going to get tonight after a rough month for him.
Last pitch was a changeup. You know, Garrett Anderson started and had to stop because that ball just hadn't gotten there yet.
Breaking ball hit to Bellhorn. And just as Colon had a 1-2-3 inning, his last half, Pedro Martinez very calm, cool, collected. Game on. 1-1. Sox, Angels. Top of the 4th. Martinez, Colon. After a 1-2-3 inning in the 3rd, Colon starts Jason Varitek up the strike. Varitek, Cabrera, Miller. Now, I did say it felt 6-5, 7-6 in the opening. We're only the 4th inning. It certainly could have been a lot of runs thus far, right?
No question.
Varitek fouls it back, so Colon is ahead.
Look at the year that Colon's had, Boomer, 18-12. 6-0, though, this year against the Texas Rangers. You want to know why they fell out of the race there the last week or so of the season? And I think the reason for that is because even though Texas is talented offensively, Tony, they're younger.
Yeah.
I mean, they're more aggressive. They're going to swing at more pitches that are close to the zone, but yet just out of the zone. A little bit more experience and discipline. Don't you agree with Boston?
I do. I think, you know, this Boston lineup is a very experienced lineup, and it's, you know, a lot like the Angel lineup at the bottom half. The top guys at the top of the lineup are experienced guys. You know, guys at the bottom half are the inexperienced guys, but already tonight you saw McPherson knock in the Angels' only run, too.
I think Texas is every bit as talented. They just don't have the experience, particularly in the postseason. They may get it for long.
Cologne trying to finish off Varitek. Doesn't. Strike out to begin the fourth. His third of the game. And now Orlando Cabrera is coming up. Cologne, 18 wins, as Sut told you, this year. Had won 18 before as a member of the Cleveland Indians in '99. And in 2002 was a 20-game winner, although he did it with two different clubs, Cleveland and Montreal. I actually thought I'd see Rick Sutcliffe's name on this list when I looked. Only the second ever to win 10 or more games with two teams in two different leagues in the same season. But I guess Cleveland traded you to the Cubs too early in '84. The other guy wasn't Sut. It was Hank Baroe in 1945 with the Yankees and the Cubs. You give me credit. I was thinking of you.
And you went back a ways there. I tell you one thing too. You talk about consistency. Starting pitchers, obviously you start with Greg Maddux, but he and Cologne are the only two pitchers in baseball with 14 or more wins the last 7 straight years. I mean, that's getting it done, and that's why you long-term a guy like this.
That'll be foul.
Cologne had to come on like gangbusters the second half.
Yes, he did.
To get 14.
Averaging 16 wins along with 216 innings over his 7 full major league seasons.
Count is 1-2 to Orlando Cabrera. And we'd like to welcome those of you that have watched the Yankees come from behind to score 2 in the 12th. And it's just excitement supreme at Yankee Stadium as they beat the Twins 7-6. Literally Jeter, A-Rod involved. A-Rod tying it with the double and Matsui with the sac fly. The Twins had him on the ropes. Really, Torrey Hunter did, but so that series now 1-1 going to the Twin Cities. We are 1-1 here in the top of the fourth. Red Sox had the bases loaded both in the first and the second innings. To get only 1 run, and that on a walk. And then the Angels coming back with a run on their own. A single by young Dallas McPherson. Tie the game at the bottom of the second. Cologne and Pedro Martinez. Ball hit well to right. Vlad Guerrero has enough time to flag it down against his ex-mate in Montreal, Orlando Cabrera. And those just watching now, Cologne got out of the first inning by getting Kevin Millar to ground his short. Actually had the bases loaded with 1 out. Got Trot Nixon to fly to the outfield before that. And then Jose Molina caught Mark Bellhorn napping. Eckstein was there, and that's how they got out of bases loaded in the second inning after 1 run. The RBI, if you're keeping score at home, to Ramirez with the walk. So Billy Miller is up. Just tuning in from the New York game. This has been a loud place, as the fans know that the Angels cannot afford to wing east to Boston down 0-2. They can win it. They got a great road record. Matter of fact, certainly the last month or two, the best in baseball. But Fenway is Fenway. Going to be tough. Be a different sea of red in Boston Friday afternoon, and we'll have that game for you here on ESPN at 4 Eastern time Friday. Miller, that'll go foul.
I think the at-bat for Miller was probably the difference in the game, Tony. We've seen a lot of great at-bats, but he had to count 0-2. He laid off a pitch just away, and then he fought off a fastball in. It seemed like nothing, a 2-out base hit, but it eventually led to the bases loaded and that walk by Manny Ramirez for the run.
And he was down the count 0-2, and Cologne went for the kill on a fastball on the outside corner that they thought was a strike that was called a ball. He ends up getting a base hit, ends up scoring a lone run. Though we're only in the top of the 4th inning, we've had a lot of action
We
in
have.
the first 3.5 innings. Not a lot of runs, but a lot of action. A lot of stuff that you sit on the edge of your seat.
I think the more it goes, the more advantage Mike Scioscia's team gets, because he wanted this series to come down to a battle of the bullpen.
Yeah.
This game could be heading that way.
That'll be out of play. And we just had the feel that, man, there still may be. I mean, the old song, I was in the right place at the wrong time. I mean, we certainly could have had a lot of runs thus far. We predicted at the beginning we still could. 6-5, 7-6, although certainly Pedro looks pretty good. Pedro, that's the story thus far tonight. Pedro Martinez, Tony, has looked, well, certainly better than he had in September. That's the understatement of the year. Eckstein at short. First at first. Miller is gone, and the second straight 1-2-3 inning for Bartolo Colon. 1-1. Oh no, get the tarp out. We're only kidding. It's Southern California. It doesn't rain. It's just the cascading opportunities here for both the Red Sox and the Angels. We are 1-1 in the bottom of the 4th, and Troy Glaus, who is yet to be retired in this series. 3 for 3 with a homer and 2 doubles yesterday. Walked and scored. We led off the second inning here with a walk and then scored the run. Single by young Dallas McPherson. Troy Glaus, who telling us yesterday as he swings to that whirly bird by Pedro that only he thought he could make it back this year. The Angels really weren't counting on it.
He was the only one, yeah.
Yep. Saying I knew it. I didn't say anything because I didn't want to jinx it, but I was real confident. But you know, he's such a nice fielding third baseman. But hey, have his bat in the lineup. As we said, he hadn't been retired yet, and he missed that home run yesterday. You know, if that ball whizzing past your window in Southern California, that could be his.
I mean, major shoulder surgery only in May, and for him to come back and be this productive. And he said as soon as the season ends, he's going to start building that shoulder up to throw. But right now, he just can't take a chance on hurting it and not being able to swing it.
Here's a whirly bird by Pedro. Glaus will sit down. We mentioned injury to Troy Glaus. Adam Kennedy, the normal second baseman, but he's not there. He's with our Kyle Peterson.
No, he's not. Adam torn MCL, torn ACL a couple weeks ago. First and foremost, how you feeling right now?
Okay and not okay, you know. Just wish I could be out there with the team. But I'm here to root them on, and it's been a fun time watching them play. They've been playing well.
Such a big part of this team, obviously, not only this year, but during the run of the world title a couple years ago. How hard is it to sit and know that you can't be a part of it on the field right now?
It's tough, you know. It's tough to come to the field and know that they're going to be out there giving it everything, and you know, you can't do the same. So just try to get back, rehab my knee, and then see where we can go from here. Bartolo works out of a couple jams early now, a 1-1 tie. What do you think of the way this game's going so far? It's fun to watch. You know these two pitchers throwing. It's going to be a great game, and every run matters. So look forward to a good game from here on out. Adam, thanks for joining us. Get healthy. We'll see you next year. Okay, thanks. Boomer.
Kyle, thank you. Again, another one of the missing for the Angels.
Well, they gave up a lot when they traded for Kennedy. I mean, Jim Edmonds was part of that deal with St. Louis, but they also lost a lot, not only offensively, but defensively. Mike Scioscia talking about how he made all of the plays, and Mike Scioscia doesn't think anybody turned to double play better than their second baseman, Adam Kennedy.
So also in the process, all these injuries, you find a guy like Sean Figgins, too.
Jeff Devannon, that Ted Williams ball coming through, and there's a base hit, his second of the night. The injury to Adam Kennedy happened on the 17th of September, and a ball hit by Ichiro. And there it was. There's the knee. It just buckled, and sometimes you just plant, and there it was. Now look, this was the projected lineup, which had one game together this year, with you see Glaus at third base, and Guillen, of course, suspended the last week of the regular season in the playoffs. Tim Sockeye Salmon gone for the year at DH. Kennedy at second base. I mean, those are some major names out of the lineup for Anaheim, but yet the Angels came from behind to win the West behind Mike Scioscia.
And some major success and experience this time of the year with Salmon and Kennedy, too. You're right, Boomer.
Because that lineup, that was the lineup that won the championship for him.
Here's Timmy Salmon, who threw out the first pitch on crutches yesterday. Jim Abbott threw out the first pitch tonight. That was great to see, wasn't it? Yeah, there it is yesterday. Tim Salmon, really an Angel that dates back to '95 when they almost won the West, and really so does Garrett Anderson, but he was kind of become Mr. Angel.
And it was Garrett Anderson and Darren Erstad that were out there with him as he threw that pitch.
Salmon rehabbing in Phoenix did not get the game that Anaheim won the division on Saturday. He said it was excruciating. He's trying to get reports over the computer, and he said, I just didn't know. And then they go in, they came from behind, and he's going to be with them all these games. Time part of this club.
Time to run, Tony? Getting close to that
I think so. I mean, you got a guy who swings and misses a lot. That's probably why they haven't. But
good speed at first base in Devannon. 18 stolen bases on the year, only caught 3 times. Well, what a good player this guy has become. Like you said, through some of these injuries, I mean, some of these guys have gotten an opportunity.
And some of the guys that helped out early in the year, you know, aren't on the playoff roster, but guys like Devannon, Figgins, and Amezaga.
Here he goes, swung on and missed. Throw, Varitek, double play. Boy, did he snap that throw off in a hurry. Devannon pegged out. McPherson struck out. Angels are out.
20th Century Fox is the day after tomorrow brings us the conclusion of Game 2 between the Twins and Yankees. An A-Rod double tied it up with the bases loaded. Hideki Matsui's line drive serves as a sac fly. Derek Jeter slides in safely. Series tied at 1.
What an exciting finish in the Bronx. Wow. Meanwhile, we're a lower score than we predicted so far, but boy, it's going to be nail-biting time. Johnny Damon slapping it. McPherson from his knees gets him by a half a step. Damon retired for the first time tonight.
Again, he hit that ball right on the screws.
That's the first time they've gotten him out since Jarrett Washburn came out of the ball game in Game 1. I was talking with Troy Glass about McPherson, and I said, what do you think? He said he's an everyday player. He's a power impact type guy offensively, and he will get better defensively. Well, he just got better in a hurry.
Yeah, that's the old keep the puck in front of you.
Exactly. Right? That's what he did. He kept it in front.
Kind of with the blocker, and then threw it over nicely.
Looked like he didn't use that glove for catching it. He just kind of...
With the waffle they used, right?
He got it done.
Mark Bellhorn singled, walked, but was the one picked off second base by Jose Molina. He ended the bases loaded threat by the Red Sox in the second. Bases loaded in the first, didn't score at all. Bases loaded in the second, got just 1 run on a walk to Manny Ramirez. Hammered, but there's Erstad.
He's not fooling anybody.
Nope. Well, he doesn't get picked off second. We don't know how big an inning the Red Sox might have had.
I don't know that he could have gotten Ortiz out because he was really picking on him. I mean, you're right. He would have thrown more pitches, and he probably wouldn't be in the ball game right now. He has lowered his sights, which means even though they're hitting it hard, they're not hitting it as high as they were earlier on, and he's given his infield a chance.
We talked about how brilliantly Erstad has become a player at first base. Those Willie Mays type over-the-shoulder catches that he made yesterday, 2 or 3 of them. Talking to him before the game, you know, you enjoying this first base? You're in every play, you know, you're in. He just, what do you think? I said, well, what I think is that, he said, well, then you're right. I said, I played center field all my life. That's what I'd rather play, but you know, if you're asking me, adjusted pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, you should watch his pregame workout. I mean, I like to watch him. Takes his ground balls, he goes to his left, he goes to his right. At the end, they hit him some pop-ups down the line like that. You know, he covers a lot of ground.
I mean, he comes off the field after infield and batting practice looking like he just ran a marathon.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how he prepares.
Yeah, and he's not the only one either. I mean, Eckstein and Figgins both put in a good day's work before every game.
That gets a strike call for Colon against Manny Ramirez. He's up 1-2. So Manny tonight has struck out and walked with the bases loaded. Colon trying for, although they've hit the ball hard on him, his third 1-2-3 inning. Collective groan. Low. 2-2, 2 outs. Base is clear. Nibble, 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 but a good eye. And everybody knows the score with the strike zone by now, don't they, fellas?
He's been trying to get it all night. It's not going to change. You've got to give credit. He has been consistent back there.
Catcher Molina's got to help him a little bit. Set up a war on the plate.
Sharply hit to Figgins, but over to Erstad. Colon settling in. Retired 9 in a row. 1-1 here in Anaheim.
For men, more evolved skincare.
Well, you saw that close look. It is a white knuckler here in the bottom of the 5th inning, settling in at a 1-1 pitcher's duel. Didn't begin that way with Pedro Martinez and specifically Bartolo Colon, but it is now as Jose Molina swings and misses. 66 pitches for Pedro as we reach the bottom of the 5th inning. Obviously, everybody in Boston counts as pitches. That's for sure. Terry Francona found that out. Whoa, a little mix-up, and it's going to cost the Red Sox. Oh, my goodness, a can of proverbial corn. And neither Cabrera nor Ramirez could get their signal straight, so a second mental miscue by Boston could put him behind the 8 ball.
Yeah, this ball goes up in the air, and Cabrera's going after the ball hard, but you see Ramirez isn't even in the picture. Cabrera felt like he couldn't catch it, and Ramirez is not even there. Ramirez is thinking Cabrera's going to catch it. Cabrera's thinking Ramirez is going to catch it. Nobody catches it, and now the Angels have a runner on first base.
What did we say last night? With Manny in left field, he makes some of the best catches of the year. And then some of the easier ones, right?
That's all you can say on that.
That's exactly how you say
it.
And so that goes as a single. And here's Eckstein. 14 sack bunts. Were among the leaders in the American League.
Well, this is going to have to be a real good bunt here because you don't have any speed at all at first base.
Way in on the grass is Bill Miller at third.
Angels ran themselves out of the inning in the bottom of the 4th inning. Pedro Martinez with a perfect pitch for the strikeout and throw him out at second base.
Oh, and there's another miscue by the Red Sox. Although a big carom gets him off the schneid. My goodness gracious. Pedro with an errant throw past Millar, but that ball bounded back like a slap shot off the glass behind the net.
Yeah, that ball goes between the legs.
And what's Socha going to say? Did it go in the stands? He's going to ask where did it hit, right?
He wants to know if maybe that ball hit a photographer or maybe hit a hand or something.
Let's see if we can look slow. Well, let's see what he says. If we can slow it really real slow, maybe we'll see where it hit. He's going to bring both Runge, the first base umpire, and Larry Young, the right field line umpire. Big break for Boston right there.
Well, it's a big moment here in this ball game, trying to grab the lead right now. Mike Scioscia, from where he was at, did not have a good view on what happened.
Yeah, let's see. Well, we're not going to tell. Didn't. It looked like it hit the wall on the on the uptick.
Yep. Well, you can't blame him for complaining there. I mean, he could have talked about Millar being in the way and all these different things.
One foul.
Worth a shot. Take a shot.
Yes,
talk to.
Plus, he's been wanting to talk.
Yes,
not
exactly
necessarily those two umpires.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, let me get out. How are you, fellas?
Frustration's been building for a few innings for Mike Scioscia. Sure that ball didn't touch somebody's hand or hit a photographer's camera.
He's right. Hey, we have a right field line umpire in the postseason. Let's get his opinion. Why not? Eckstein bunts it in the air. So now fundamentally, the Angels having trouble with the bunts.
Second time. I mean, they dropped a bunt back in the second inning after McPherson had singled in a run to make it 1-1.
You know, and in fairness to them too, though, Tony, you didn't bunt a whole lot in your career, but you know, trying to get the sacrifice bunt down is one thing. Trying to do it off Pedro when he knows you're trying to do it.
And you already touched on the fact Molina doesn't run well either.
Swinging away and past Bellhorn into center field is Eckstein. Damon with a quick bobble, and the Angels with 2 on to begin the 5th.
Boomer, I say this as a compliment, but he's just a little pest, that Eckstein. But you know what? Only to the opposing teams. They love him here.
Now the crowd into it. Cal Peterson.
Thank you, Boomer. With Theo Epstein, GM of the Boston Red Sox. Theo, obviously things getting a little bit tight here, but 1-1 game. The first couple innings, you guys get the bases loaded. How tough is it to just push one across?
Well, a playoff game like this, both starting pitchers throwing their hearts out and everyone grinding their at-bats. You want to take advantage of all your opportunities to score. They did a good job getting out of the jam.
You know, everybody's talked lately about Pedro's last 4 starts, but what do you think of what you've seen him so far?
He's throwing great. He's got a good fastball, and he's he made a good pitch right there. But no, he's still Pedro Martinez, and no one would rather have on the mound than him and Kurt in these 2 big games on the road.
Yeah, you work all offseason to put this team together. How difficult is it to GM to sit here knowing that you can't do anything during the game?
Oh, it's easy for me. Those guys have to go out and play, and you know, every at-bat can change the game. So these guys have been through it before. I think going through it last year really helped us, and got a lot of faith in them. Just like to sit back and watch it.
Yeah, we appreciate your time. Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah.
Boom.
All right, Kyle, thank you. Well, it's tough. You know, it's up to the players now. He's just sitting there and so involved, yet not involved during a game. Meanwhile, here is Darren Erstad with 2 on. After that was Sean Figgins that popped up to Miller in foul ground. Oh! They get the kneecap. Well, they're booing, but obviously there's no intention there.
Yeah, but the intention when this game started for Pedro Martinez was to avoid this situation.
Yep. Oh, man, inside of the kneecap.
A little slider, a little cutter. Right off the kneecap. He's banged up already, and that's going to leave a mark in the morning.
Well, look, you see that number, and now coming to the plate. If timing is part of life, then what kind of time is this for Vladimir Guerrero to register his first postseason base hit? Oh, that was a heater up top, way up top. Ball 1. So the runners hoping to get moving. Vladimir Guerrero hit one 400 feet for an out his last time up to dead center. Molina, Eckstein, Erstad on the bases. And the back 2 can run. Ripped, right center field. This could score Erstad if there's a fumble. Nixon up with it. Erstad's going to stop at third, but the Angels have played it 2 and taken a 3-1 lead.
The one thing they say consistently about Vladimir Guerrero is that he prepares himself to perform every day. Tony, not all superstars do that. This guy has that same work ethic that these Anaheim Angels have had for a couple of years.
And that's just a nice piece of hitting by Vladimir. That ball was up, that ball was out, and he didn't try to pull it. He went right with it to right center. We saw Erstad get hit on the kneecap the last at bat. He was flying around second base.
Oh, yeah. The Angels have grabbed their first lead of this series. Vladimir Guerrero with a two-base knock, with a two-run single. Chris Berman, Tony Gwynn, Rick Sutcliffe here, and Pedro Martinez still with two on. And not out of the woods with Garrett Anderson up. And it all began with a miscue in the outfield when Manny Ramirez and Orlando Cabrera couldn't communicate, and Molina, who scored the second run here, the Angels' second run overall, should have been retired.
Amazing how one mistake like that can just kind of mushroom and turn into something huge. And fortunately for Boston, that's what's happened.
That almost hit Garrett Anderson.
I see a couple of the Red Sox fielders asking Veritek to ask for an appeal. Did he go on that? Because he's been trying to get out of the way. There's the barrel going through the zone. And I don't think there was any intent there for the swing, but
he's just trying to get off that back.
Yeah, trying to get off that sore back left leg.
Rip, but double play! Kevin Millar snares it! Doubles off Guerrero! 3-1 Anaheim. Welcome back to Southern California, where the Angels have their first lead of this series. And almost had more, except for that screamer hit by Garrett Anderson into a double play, turned by Kevin Millar at first. Now Erstad hit. You know where I'm going with this. Erstad hit. Anderson, almost hit. So Cologne launches one inside to Ortiz.
Just say hello. That's all he's doing out there.
Ortiz has walked and flown to center. Check swing, foul ball.
Tony, I agree with you. I think Molina's moving around a little bit too much there. But, you take a look here. You looked at the bloop by Molina that fell for the base hit. You look at the bloop by Eckstein that fell for, and then that ball hit right on the nose, and it's a double play.
Yep, right on the.
Not fair sometimes, is it?
Told you he was Mattingly. Well, that was self-defense. He's been great.
Think about Cologne throwing that first pitch inside on Ortiz. Ortiz not going anywhere. He stepped right back in there.
Fouls it off. That's 98 pitches now for Cologne. The most that he's thrown this year is 117. Although most of those pitches we talked about were in the first two innings, fellas.
That's correct. First two innings.
I think, Tony, you hit on a good point. I think Jose Molina was just sitting too far outside on a lot of those early pitches.
Yeah, when you're right. When you're not getting that call and you're setting up late like Molina's doing. Now this ball, he wants to be off the plate.
Bat flying. Eckstein. Safe. Ortiz beats it out. Erstad didn't like it.
Ortiz smelled that hit from the time it left the bat.
That bat flying just might freeze an infielder for a split second, huh?
I'll bet that's the best time you have gotten on David Ortiz going down the line all year, Tony.
And it's a good call because he beat it.
Yes, sir.
And you just don't expect him to get down the line like that, but that play right there, we saw it last inning. The Angels got a break on that little blooper in the left field. It led to two runs. him hustling down the line like he did, beating that ball out. Same could happen for the Red Sox.
Trot Nixon, 2 fly ball out to left. Away is Cologne. Ball 1.
Anaheim's been trying to get that sacrifice bunt down. They had 56 of them during the year. If you're looking for that with Boston, they had 12 of them all year long.
I don't think you're going to see Trot Nixon turn around and drop a bunt here unless he's bunting for a base hit.
That'll find the upper deck out of play.
The Angels aren't even holding Ortiz. At first base.
Wow. I mean,
you're not gonna. I mean, I'm just making light of the fact that Ortiz
could at least get a step.
He got down the line quickly and got a base hit.
And
if they're not gonna hold you here.
Oerstad's gonna play cat and mouse a little bit. Away to Nixon again, 2-1.
See, I was talking about Molina setting up off the plate. You know, there comes a time where, as the catcher, you gotta make that decision. Look, he's not giving us this call right here. I need to get a little bit more on the plate to give him a good look at it. When the ball Ortiz hit, but they definitely wanted it off the plate. He made a good pitch. Ortiz shattered his bat, but just beat the play out.
Chopper, Figgins, Eckstein, Erstad. Double play.
A lot of people call this the surrender pitch. You're not surrendering a hit. You're just saying that my pitch count is way too high. So you go to that 2-seam sinking fastball. You hope that he hits it on the ground. You know one thing, you don't need to throw any more pitches to him. He went with the sinking fastball. You can see Ortiz right on top of Eckstein. Look at him go into the air, sacrifice his body, turn around to make sure he got that double play.
Speaking of double plays, the man that turned it in the defensive half of the inning for Boston, Kevin Millar up. With about his 5th or 6th hairstyle of the season. Facial and top. This is the one that's worked the best.
Boy, and that sinking fastball has worked the best for Cologne tonight. He struck out Manny Ramirez on it earlier in the game, and then when he really needed to make a big pitch, you talk about his velocity and his slider and all that. I mean, that's probably his 4th pitch, but it was the most important and effective pitch for him to use in that situation. Look at it right here, man, Tony. All he's counting on is a little bit of late movement to get a ground ball. There it starts to sink just a bit at the end. You see the hitter roll over on it.
Get him out front a little bit so he can hit it on the ground.
Just a tad, yep.
Figgins the next time made a nice turn.
That's how you throw complete games. That's how you throw over 200 innings a year. It's not that you're giving in. You're not giving up a hit. What you're doing is hoping for a little late movement and something that your infield can help you with.
And that's, I think he struggled with that in the first half of the season because mechanically, with his ankle being sore, he just didn't have the kind of mechanics to get the ball to do what he wanted it to do.
2-2 pitch, just missed. So the full count to Kevin Millar.
We're ready in the bullpen right now.
You saw Brendan Donnelly.
See 108 pitches.
But hey, this is what they want. Out of Cologne, he's won 6 innings, 23 of his 34 starts. They have a superior bullpen. Eckstein can't get it. He was over in the hole against the pull-hitting Millar, and Kevin is on with his second base hit. With his first base hit, he had the 2 yesterday. Tomorrow on ESPN, our division series presented by Budweiser continues at 4 Eastern. Houston is 1 behind the Rocket Man today at Atlanta. Mike Hampton going in that game trying to equal it up with the Braves, but 20-game winner Roy Oswalt goes. And then on our friends from Fox, the night game at 8 Eastern, the Dodgers and Cardinals. Jason Marquis against Jeff Weaver. Cardinals looking very impressive, to say the least, with long ball and winning game 1, 8-3. Houston winning today 9-3. Ripped by Varitek. Back it goes. Back. We're tied up. And you don't think he's wired. He sprinted around the bases like the ball was in play. 3-3.
Just like that. Cologne made a great pitch to get the double play. When Millar hits a tough pitch for a base hit, Veritek comes up, gets a ball right in the middle of the K zone. And when you get a ball right in the middle of the K zone, that's usually what happens. Somebody's going to hit it hard. This one goes out of the ballpark.
Look at that. Veritek is such a heart and soul of this team.
And that whole team can just strike so quick.
Yeah. Most runs in baseball, 949 in the regular season.
Look at him, Boomer, like you said, he can't get those shin guards on quick enough.
2 pitches and they're all on. Oh, by the way, he just hit a homer. Take a cup of water. He's unbelievable. Owen to Orlando Cabrera. Now one more out maybe, and we might have seen Donnelly. That would have been it for Cologne. And Mike Scioscia just going on.
Well, it's been a night about what ifs.
Yeah.
You get the sacrifice bunt down, you catch the fly ball.
Yep. Third base, Dallas McPherson over to Erstad. Cabrera out, but the Red Sox have tied it. 2-run shot off the bat of Jason Veritek. Tied anew because of Jason Veritek, one of the just a handful of Red Sox around. With that start years ago we showed you by Cologne, he scored 5 runs in that game, 1999, just to show you that life can be cyclical. And here he is with a 2-run homer off Cologne, evening this game again. Pedro Martinez coming up and into Troy Glass to start things off here in the home half of the 6th inning. Chris Berman, Rick Sutcliffe, Tony Gwynn, Kyle Peterson down in the field. Glad you could join us for this thriller. 6-5's not out of the question, boys. I know there's good bullpens.
Looking better and better.
Terry Francona talking about Veritek, how he never carries an at-bat back onto the field when he goes out to catch. I don't think he would complain if he took a smile out there with him right now.
He doesn't have one now. He's business calling this thing. Popped up. Kevin Millar. Old Mattingly, Keith Hernandez, Wes Partner over there makes the play. And now Donnelly is sat down. Francisco Rodriguez, K-Rod, certainly made a name for himself in that 2002 magical postseason by the Angels. Just unhittable, and no one had ever seen him before. It was like the natural, or Sid Finch, the guy that was throwing 140 miles an hour in the bullpen for April Fools. Written by George Clinton. Like, where did they get this guy? He still throws about 140 to maybe 140 Canadian. Swinging behind that pitch is Jeff Devannon, who's 2 for 2 off Pedro tonight.
Cologne was just 1 out away from handing over a 2-run lead with just 3 innings to go to that great bullpen, but with 1 swing of the bat, Veritek changed things.
The other way, even though it's past midnight in Boston, and most people in the New England area, what they call Red Sox Nation, would be normally counting sheep, they're counting pitches right now. You just know it. Pedro, he's pitched 82. How long do we leave him in? Is it pitch count? Is it feel? If you're Terry Franklin,
I think it's stuff. You see, he's still got good velocity on a fastball. Still locating the ball good.
I'm telling you, if I'm Terry Francona and it gets to 100, I'm going to get him. I'm not going to let him.
Wow.
I'm not. I mean, he tried to do that earlier this year, just literally, 3 weeks ago. Left Pedro out there for the 8th inning. It didn't work, and wow. Booed at home, and then they have had a great year. You got to go get him. It's just the track record says that at 100, he's done.
Yeah, but 83, so he could get out of this year. Sure. Sears saying 7 at most, barring the 3-pitch inning.
Well, I might let him go until Vladimir Guerrero comes back up again. Then I want a fresh body out there. I might run Schilling out there just for one hitter.
Okay.
The other thing, he's run into the bottom half of this lineup, and they've had some success against him. So I think that might be a telltale sign.
Now that you mentioned Schilling very quickly. A lot of people saw the injury. Wow, that he pulled up a little lame at covering first base on the throw that he made. They had the X-rays, precautionary X-rays. They were negative. He's had an ankle problem all year long. This was a little higher up. And they don't expect him to miss his next start, which would be at earliest Game 5, if there is one, here at Anaheim.
You know, we
Sunday.
found out something before the game I didn't know. I knew he was getting shots, you know, for the pain. I didn't know Curt Schilling was getting shots actually during the game so that he can continue to pitch during the regular season this year.
Full count to Devaney. Chopper, Bellhorn, Pilar, 2 outs. Usually some shots are taken after the game.
Yeah, yes they are.
October, 8 teams, 1 champion. The race to the World Series is on. Catch all the action on ESPN and ESPN2. Don't miss it.
I'm sure that Curt Schilling had a couple of shots after the game. I mean, there was a lot of pain in that ankle. You could see how he just never.
You had take any shots after the game? Never mind. Dallas McPherson, 1 for 2. This bottom part of the order, they've all gotten hits. Devaney with 2 hits. McPherson, Molina, Eckstein have a hit.
He hadn't seen a fastball yet, has he? A lot of off-speed stuff.
He hadn't even fouled off that changeup.
I do like the fact it looks like he's spreading out a little bit here.
He's trying to stay back, but every time Martinez throws in one, it's in the strike zone.
90 pitches now for Pedro. He's given up just 6 hits, 3 runs, 6 hits. Colon giving up 3 runs, 7 hits. So we're not the flamethrower they always were. How about that pitch? 3-3. ESPN's coverage of Major League Baseball's Division Series presented by Budweiser. Some of the magazine covers, and certainly 2 years ago, K-Rod, Francisco Rodriguez, came from nowhere in September to become a postseason hero. How has he done this year? Well, his future's so bright, he's got to wear shades. This year, 84 innings pitched and 123 strikeouts. I mean, that's like Dibble-esque, you know, at a 13, 14 per 9 innings average.
Yeah, and you know, the last time he lost a game, you got to go back to the month of June this year.
Faced the bottom of Boston's order, Bill Miller. 1 for 2, singled in the second, scored a run on a bases loaded walk by Manny Ramirez. Miller, then Damon and Bellhorn. It's about, you know, he looks, it's a difference of a nose tackle and a scat back if you're the batter at the mound looking at these guys, right? Colon to K-Rod?
Yeah. Same kind of giddy up.
Put on it, fouls it off the deck.
So deceptive, too.
Yeah.
All of that leg movement and how quick he picks it up and puts it down. And then you know that Uncle Charlie is on the pass list tonight.
You know, it's
that breaking ball's as good as it comes, Boomer.
With all this movement, it's got to be pretty hard to find a baseball.
Chopped wide.
Got a big leg kick. And out of all of that, you got to find it. You see the spin on that breaking ball.
And that's in slow motion.
Yeah, I could see it on TV. I couldn't see that spin when I was hitting. That's pretty quick.
Off the glove. Figgins bobbles. Miller safe. That'll go as a base hit, the second of the night for Bill Miller.
It's going to take a clean field and throw to get Miller.
It's a play, though, that could have been made.
Yeah.
I mean, he is having some problems defensively. Figgins had some problems in the bottom of the 5th inning up there to put down a sacrifice bunt. Wasn't able to get it done. I mean, he was so important to this ball club this year and all of the things that he did. But, Tony, right now, it just seems like he's pressing.
Yeah.
Well, Dave Roberts has gone into pinch run. Manager Terry Francona electing to keep an extra position player, specifically Roberts, for exactly this sort of situation. Being one less pitcher than people thought. Williamson did not make the postseason roster.
Well, see, that's what's happened to Mike Scioscia's bench. I mean, that's exactly what Figgins did for him a couple of years ago. You could use him. You could insert that speed when you needed it to win a ball game. He doesn't have that luxury now. He doesn't have that on his bench. Figgins has become an everyday player. I mean, this is as good as a double here. Roberts is such a good base steal.
And this is the move in the late part of the season that Theo Epstein made that did not get the headlines.
Yeah.
Nomar gone, Cabrera into short, even Mankiewicz from the Twins. Oh, by the way, Dave Roberts kind of lost in the shuffle. With him and Damon, if they both got on, a completely different look for the Red Sox.
In this situation, especially because Rodriguez has got the big high leg kick.
In there for a strike to Damon. Well, he is at 4 straight hits over the latter part of game 1 and then game 2 before he was retired on a shot to Dallas McPherson at 3rd. Even got the 3rd both times in innings number 1 and number 2, but was stranded there. Red Sox squandered 2 bases loaded opportunities, scoring just 1 run. Roberts is a base stealer. I mean, the Red Sox, you go through their history, it's a pretty short list. Tommy Harper's on there, and there's 1 or 2 others, but it's not exactly the Greater Boston phone book when you list of base stealing threats in the history of the Boston Red Sox.
Roberts really became that great base stealer when he put on that Los Angeles Dodger uniform and had the opportunity to work with a former Dodger great, Maury Wills.
Nobody better at it than him. For a strike. Damon thought it'd be a little high. Up.
Looked like Rodriguez kind of caught his feet on that release to the plate.
Everybody trying to get a little quick.
Yeah, Roberts, I think, was kind of caught by that too. He wanted to go. We talked about this yesterday. You got a base stealer on like that. You want to think about holding the ball, disrupting the timing of the base runner.
Damon slaps to short. This will be a tough turn. Figgins. Damon wrist runs too quickly.
Boy, but now you lose that base stealer. You picked the opportunity you wanted for him to steal a base, and he never, in any one of those 3 pitches, took off to get in that direction. I think you've got to give a lot of credit to Rodriguez, Tony, for, like you said, he changed his tempo. He threw over several times, and now you get that out, and the stolen base does not become as important as it would have with nobody out.
Absolutely, because now with 1 out, it's a little different. You got a different type of hitter at the plate now with 1 out, and Johnny Damon, no question, is a threat to go.
With Bellhorn up, and of course he's going to keep an eye on Damon. Among the resume, as you take a look at Roberts, the resume of Frankie Rodriguez, he was the youngest pitcher to ever win a World Series game at 20 years of age, 286 days. He and Fernando Valenzuela were the only 2 to win 2 postseason games before they were 21 years of age. 22, doesn't turn 23 till later in the year. Listen to that one to Bellhorn, 1-0. Five wins, 28 strikeouts 2 Octobers ago in the postseason. Hello.
That is amazing. I'm sure Johnny Damon wants to run here, but like we talked about, Rodriguez is doing a nice job of varying his deliveries to the plate, holding the ball, making that runner wait.
Good block by Molina. Now, wait a minute. Strike ball. I thought it was something else.
Yeah, he thought
he went
tried
around.
to check his swing, and he did.
Could
He went
not.
around. So he went around.
Good job of a screenshot there.
Yeah, and had the runner been going, it
Yeah.
could have been interference there because you saw Bellhorn continue to fall out over the plate.
Love Johnny Damon over there with that big leg kick. I got to take a shot. I got to take a shot at trying to get myself in scoring position.
Yeah, well, here's a guy that can plate him from wherever. On deck, Manny Ramirez.
See what, Molina can throw.
But we know we saw him throw.
Better get a jump.
Pick off Bellhorn earlier.
We talked about the World Championship a couple of years ago for Anaheim. Of the 11 wins they picked up that they needed to win it, 8 of them came by rookies. 5 of them by K-Rod here, 2 of them from Lackey, and 1 of them from Donald.
They're grizzled veterans now.
Yeah, now.
2-1 to Bellhorn. Maybe.
Another thing that happens when Rodriguez comes into the game, things just go a whole lot slower, especially if runners get on. To make a quality pitch here.
There goes Damon. Throw in the dirt. Safe. So the one base stealer out of there with Roberts, but here's your main base stealer. They even had the correct pitch to do it with. Did the Angels.
And that big leg kick, you can't help but take a shot at it. Molina had to hurry.
Everybody's falling down right now.
You're right.
I mean, we saw it earlier. We saw Roberts not be able to get a jump. We saw K-Rod almost fall down as he went to throw a pitch. And it looked like right there, we saw Bellhorn slip when he got picked off at second. Molina almost fell down, and he had a high fastball to handle, and yet that left foot, he just couldn't get it planted. Take a look at his left foot here. I mean, he comes out, he knows what he's doing. And look at me, I mean, he almost falls down there, spinning out. I mean, that throw bounced on the grass.
Chop, but wide of first. It's not as if they're tough field conditions. You wouldn't. It certainly didn't look like it.
This guy's trying to do stuff too fast, trying to do it too quickly.
Yep. I mean, you can't get much more perfect conditions than this short sleeve night.
Yeah. But you got these young guys out there. Molina wasn't here 2 years ago. Biggins wasn't here.
A little moisture, I guess. I mean, you can see with the fog, it kind of fog. A little moisture on the tarp, but I'm not using that as an excuse.
I'm not buying it. The Angels have played here all year long. They played night games. Get the marine layer
dirt,
hanging.
not the grass.
Yeah,
They're falling on the
exactly.
dirt. Full count to Bellhorn. Meanwhile, Damon at second. And here it is again. Manny Ramirez, to the chagrin of Mike Scioscia.
That ball had so much tilt on it. Mike Scioscia thinks it caught the bottom half of the K zone. Let's take a look.
He took one away from him there, and at the worst possible time for the Anaheim Angels.
See, Mike Scioscia's asking Molina now, where was that ball?
Manny has come up with 2 on and none out in the first and struck out. He drew a bases loaded walk in the second for Boston's first run. So he's come up now with, this is now 7 runners he's had a chance to plate. Swings and misses, strike 1.
I knew there wouldn't be a whole lot of history with these two guys. Just 0 for 2. Manny Ramirez against Rodriguez. Tough to get a read on a guy, Tony, isn't it?
Yeah.
Throws this hard, has this good of stuff. You only get to see him 2 times in 2 years.
You know, he's sitting at a base loaded walk to drive in one. He almost drove in 3 when the other way off Colon in the second. It was just missed the foul pole.
Anybody have better sound effects than Boomer?
No,
I'm trying, you know, the budget's low. We don't have as much of the sound effects in the truck as we usually have. Concerned about a home run. He'll take one, but just a little bleeder will score Damon with the go-ahead run here in the 7th. There for a strike. Obviously looking for something else, huh?
Yeah. And it goes in 2 breaking balls to start him off. Comes back with a 94-mile-per-hour fastball. You got to pick one.
I think he did. I think the first pitch he picked fastball and got breaking ball.
Yep.
So I thought he changed there a little bit. And
he throw me 2, let me look for 3, but
now you get a little bit defensive, and K-Rod can make the good pitch. He can get that ground ball he needs here.
Bounces away. Molina loses it. So Damon to third. Bellhorn to second.
It's going to go as a wild pitch because it caught dirt before it hit glove, but that is a ball Mike Scioscia knows has to be blocked.
Yeah.
You know the breaking ball is coming. Watch what Molina does with his glove here. Instead of turning it over, watch how he just tries to catch it. He reaches down there to get it. You've got to get your body in front of that ball. Turn your glove over the other way. You're not a shortstop. You're a catcher. That's what all of that gear is for.
Absolutely right.
Oh, that's a big, big spot.
Infield in. Boy, you talk about perilous positions with Manny Ramirez up. And a ball coming in perhaps with smoke and going out with more of it. How about his eye at the plate?
He's got a pretty good one. And again, it gets back to you knowing yourself and knowing what you can do. Ball starts in the zone, runs out.
3-2. 1 out. 2 runners in scoring position. 3-3 game. Top 7. To center, Garrett Anderson. Damon tagging. Not even contested. Boston has the lead.
That's been the key to Boston's success all year long. Johnny Damon gets on, he uses his speed to get into scoring position, and then either Manny Ramirez or David Ortiz drives him in. He finally centers a breaking ball. Manny finally got the pitch he was looking for. He got it far enough into the outfield for Damon to score. He got Boston back that lead.
And if there's no wild pitch, that situation doesn't happen.
Yep.
Meanwhile, with the dangerous David Ortiz up, he had the 41 homers, but Trot Nixon will get a chance. David Ortiz going to be intentionally walked. Tees with mere 139 ribbies. 2 out runs. Make managers gray if you're the other side.
Yeah. Well, what really bothers him right now is the fact that they're giving away runs and they're giving away bases.
Yeah.
All the unearned run yesterday took the game away from what could have been a ball game and an opportunity to win, and now the wild pitch that should not have been puts runners up 90 feet and an opportunity really for Trot Nixon to break this thing open.
Speaking of gray-haired managers, 2 hour Gene Mauch is here. I don't know if the 2-out situations made him that gray, but proud manager of the Angels. Led him so close to the World Series.
Boy, a good baseball,
in 86, man. Absolutely. And didn't get enough credit for the type of skipper he was. They hold 64 against him in Philly, and of course here in Anaheim. But against the Angels up there in the box with Jackie Autry. And meanwhile, I'm sure he's hoping quietly that Frankie Rodriguez can get to Trot Nixon and keep this a 1-run game. Breaking ball in there for a strike.
Tony, most of the time, the guy has either got a good curveball and a so-so slider or the other way around. This is that rare combination of both for Rodriguez.
Yeah. Well, really, you're facing a guy like Rodriguez, you got to look for the fastball. Try to adjust for that breaking ball or anything else.
Chop to Erstad. He'll take it himself. And the damage is done. Just 1 run, but a huge run scored by the Red Sox. Pedro will come out to hurl the bottom of the 7th with a lead. The Red Sox have pushed across the go-ahead run here in their half of the 7th inning stretch time here in Anaheim. And the Angels trying desperately not to fall behind 0-2 and winging it to Boston for Game 3 on Friday. Meanwhile, the Mart out of ESPN, College Football Primetime presented by Cooper Tires, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 out here on the West Coast. The Clemson Tigers against the Virginia Cavaliers. Also available in high definition on ESPN HD. You can call your cable operator, DirecTV, or the Dish Network today. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. Now, tonight in the American League has certainly been outstanding. Tight ball game. So, if you joined us late, Red Sox ran themselves out of a huge inning in the second when Bellhorn was picked up by Molina. Meanwhile, Kevin Millar snaring this bullet by Garrett Anderson of the Angels, who had taken a 3-1 lead right here. But tied with the Red Sox on Jason Varitek's home run. And a wild pitch in the top of the second put Johnny Damon at third base, which allowed Manny Ramirez to step up and hit a sac fly. So defensive changes. Kevin Youkilis is now the third baseman for the Red Sox, and he'll go instead of Billy Miller at first base, although Kevin Millar has played brilliantly. Mankiewicz is a Gold Glove, and so Doug Mankiewicz is at first. And still on the mound, with everything you'd want if you're the Boston side of the fence here, Pedro Martinez with a 4-3 lead to pitch the 7th. So look, we came into the night, fellas, with the biggest question: what kind of Pedro Martinez would we see tonight? You're looking at the numbers: 6 hits to 3 runs, 5 Ks. You've seen the competitor of Pedro Martinez.
You know, the big thing for me too, Boomer, is the fact that we have seen the velocity back, Tony, from Pedro Martinez tonight. We know that he can pitch, and when he doesn't have that velocity, he can still win, but it sure helps.
Yeah.
Casey Kochman, one of their young bats. Very little major league experience. Kochman, top draft pick a couple years ago, 2001. He's the pinch hitter for Jose Molina, so the older brother Benji will go in to catch. So Kochman, Eckstein, and Figgins. Pedro gloves it himself, and that's an out. look, you cannot overstate. I can't say we're shocked with the lefty Mike Myers and the righty Mike Timlin pitched true strong innings last night, but it's up there again. You cannot overstate the way Pedro Martinez has come out to pitch tonight, son.
Well, and he's still under 100 pitches right now. You know, he still has that look in his eye. I mean, you can see the excitement in him, but they're not going to go too far with him. And to me, too far is sending up the go-ahead run to face Pedro. If he goes 1, 2, 3, I let him go. But if somebody gets on,
you would let him go the next inning after 1, 2, 3?
No. This would be the last inning for me.
Okay.
But if somebody gets on in this inning, that would be it.
2-0 to David Eckstein. Now Pedro Martinez, though, has a chance to up his postseason mark lifetime to 5-1.
Well, and you had to figure that the dynamic duo, as far as the American League goes anyway, with Schilling and Pedro, would get it done and be difficult to beat. They had 37 wins this year, the most by any American League teammates. The first pair of Boston Red Sox pitchers ever with 200 or more strikeouts in a season. I mean, Pedro Martinez, Curt Schilling, I mean, they're just two of the best pitchers in you know, the last 10 years.
Manager Terry Francona, you got to feel pretty good about the outing Martinez is giving you tonight. He's gotten you to the 7th inning. You got a 1-run lead. He's still locating.
Well, now you got to manage.
Exactly. And I agree with you. I think if he gets into any kind of trouble here, you're probably going to see a move to the bullpen. But you've got the 9-hitter hitting and the leadoff hitter coming up after him. And he just reached his 100th pitch. I got enough faith in Pedro. I think he can get 9 and 1 out. And if he doesn't, okay, I'm not afraid to go to the bullpen.
Again fouled off. We began the telecast with this. His last 4 starts, 2 losses to the Yankees, 2 to Tampa Bay. This is more like the first 29 starts. Not maybe like some of his starts in years past, when he's unhittable. But you can get this from him with this kind of offense.
Another thing, too, David Eckstein told us before the game tonight, this is the kind of bat you got to have against Pedro.
Schilling listening to Ortiz there.
Be able to foul off pitches. He's fouled off about 6, 7 in a row here.
The 10th pitch in this at bat coming up.
He's making Terry Francona's decision a whole lot easier as we go. He keeps fouling off pitches.
I love what Pedro's doing here, though. Let's. I've just been throwing fastballs, and he's just been fouling them all. Let me reassess this situation, figure out how I can get this at bat over with.
Yeah.
You know what he did? He just gave his arm a little bit of time to regroup. That last fastball was 95 miles an hour. This has been a special performance by a guy who has been special for a long time.
You got to think after a while, you get tired of him fouling off pitches here. He's going to try to make a pitch to get him out.
Now it's getting a little closer to the field of play, but not that much. So now the 12th pitch in this at bat coming up. A dirty dozen at this point. Eckstein to left. Manny Ramirez back, but he's not going to have enough punch to get it out. And so an epic battle there with 12 pitches, but there are 2 outs, and coming up now, Sean Figgins coming up.
Where's the green monster when you need it?
Well,
right.
And on the way back to the dugout, he kind of gave Eckstein a little pat on the back, saying, way to battle.
And that conversation there on the mound with Minkiewicz, I mean, paying attention to detail. They're talking about what if Figgins were to lay down a bunt and bring it with him. And Kavich has to guard the line. He's going to stay deep, telling Pedro anything in front of me, you got to get.
Euclid is in on the grass at third base. So if this is to be the out, we assume this is the final batter Pedro Martinez will face tonight. And he has given himself and the Red Sox a chance to win it. Ahead 0-2 to Figgins, who is 1 for 8, and this young man is such a great kid. He's really struggled in these 2 games, most notably in the field. But
they call him Mini-Me. I mean, he is best friends with Vladimir Guerrero. I mean, they play catch before the game. They're constantly together, and you know, he does kind of look like a Mini-Me standing next to Vlad.
Yeah, so Figgins can make him do the same thing. And I'm looking at Pedro's. You showed earlier, Sut, you were looking at the motion of the push-off of the bottom of the pants. The only thing I think is maybe a little more wider bell bottom for Pedro.
He just seems to be favoring that back leg a little bit for whatever reason. I mean, that's where he just doesn't push off like he used to consistently do.
Bell bottoms.
That's how they like them nowadays.
Longer the better, huh, Tony?
Yeah.
They doing that at San Diego State
They try
too?
to, but no. I'm impressed with. Well, his velocity is still good. I agree with both of you guys. He just doesn't seem to get that same kind of push off that he had in the past, but you know, his motion is still good. The velocity is still good.
He's, you know what? He's still Pedro Martinez.
That's right.
That rotation is tight there. We've seen the good change-ups with the movement.
Figgins has worked his way back to a full count here.
You see, he's got the kind of breaking ball that you can hear the fingers come off that seam when you're standing there at the plate.
Bat flies, ball foul. Let's see here. What are we doing?
Should go ahead and take it.
Go ahead. Can I? Here you go.
Can you get him another one? He'll probably try to hook him up later.
Should.
They're so good at this ballpark, and it all starts with the guy that owns this team, Artie Moreno. I mean, you talk about a guy that is fan-friendly. He is every bit of that to the Anaheim Angels.
Again,
I think that's the biggest thing about what Mr. Moreno did in the offseason. He gave General Manager Bill Stoneman the opportunity to go out and bring in free agents instead of using the great farm system, Tony, that they have to trade for them. I mean, that gives this team an opportunity to not only be good now, but to be good for a long time.
Look at this, another one. So now we go to the 10th pitch coming up. We had 12 with Eckstein. Pedro is about to throw his 116th pitch on the night.
Right.
They're just making it. If these are you're going to pitch at 9-1 and get out, boy, they're making him work. But he doesn't. Pedro Martinez has pitched 7 strong innings. And he knows that it'll be turned to the pen. He's given Boston everything they need. We've played 7 here in Anaheim. And the Red Sox have a 4-3 lead. Top of the 8th inning, and hugs and handshakes all around for Pedro Martinez as he ends the 7th with the strikeout of Sean Figgins after 2 long at-bats with Eckstein and Figgins. You pointed it out, the velocity is still very high on his final pitch. 1/16th and final pitch. So we begin the 8th inning. Doug Mankiewicz. Benji Molina is the new catcher, the elder brother by 1 year. Jose Molina, pinch hit for Doug Mankiewicz, who came in for defensive purposes for Millar. It's the bat fly into the dugout, and as the ball go into right field, base hit. So, whichever bearded first baseman is up for the Red Sox seems to be getting on base. Barr was 1 for 3, and Mankiewicz now 1 for 1.
Mankiewicz, one of the few guys in baseball with good numbers off of K-Rod. Now 3 for 6, hitting right at 500.
Very impressive. Biggest blow of the night hit by this man, Jason Varitek, down 3-1. His 2-run homer with 2 out in the 6th. Papa Bartolo Colon tied this game behind that pitch by K-Rod.
Watching him swing from the left side, Tony, his first couple of bats he was pulling off of everything, and for some reason Colon decided to try to run that cut fastball in on him, and he ran into a 2-run home.
And good for him, he was right on it.
Anaheim will bring up the heavy metal in the 8th inning. Erstad, Guerrero, Anderson, and then Gloss 4th.
I'm still trying to figure out how Mankiewicz's ball goes in the right field, but the barrel went into the stands over here.
Break on that pitch. Here's the blast by Varitek in the 6th inning, and it was a no-doubter.
Started that ball in and ended up right in the middle of the plate. And you got to give him credit because the first couple at bats he just couldn't handle that fastball away.
And that hit him. That hit Varitek. And so now Mikey Rodriguez is 2 on against him with none out.
Killer instinct, Boomer. You get somebody down, you don't let him up. He's not going to move. He knows what's going on. Take a look at that there. He might spin a little bit. Got me. Now we've got 2 men on and nobody out. Battling. Colon did it. Pedro Martinez did it. They're trying to take this game and a 2-0 lead in this series right now.
This Angel team, this isn't one of those teams you want to let hang around. Let them hang around thinking they got a chance to get back in this thing. You get a chance to put them away, you got to try to do that.
Along with their bullpen being rested from the ball game yesterday, that, you know, we didn't see that rally monkey either. So I mean, he's ready to go tonight. If they can stay close,
you're right.
He will make an appearance.
2 innings of work here, K-Rod. Well, they'll bring the monkeys here. I mean, they're not there for the Red Sox getting runs here in the 8th. I can tell you that. Showing bunt is Cabrera, pulling it back with McPherson charging at third.
That wasn't a bad idea for Cabrera to pull that back. Mike Scioscia put on the wheel play there where the shortstop Eckstein breaks towards the third base bag and everybody at the corner charges. Tony, there's just nowhere to put that bunt down. Look at where everybody was coming. They would have easily had to force play at third.
Yeah.
This guy's got great baseball instincts, Cabrera.
That'll be foul. So now it's 0-2.
You know, all night long it's been amazing. We've seen these situations come up where you need to bunt, you need to block a ball. You know, this is a situation, first and second, nobody out. You just need to get a bunt down and move the runners up 90 feet. And he pops this ball up, and Molina can't get to it, but now he's got 2 strikes. So we've seen both sides here in tonight's game not execute very well. They put themselves in a situation where scoring runs, instead of scoring runs with outs, they've had to get base hits in order to score.
To Cabrera with 2 on. Bunting with 2 strikes, fouls it off, so he's a strikeout. Either great pitching or just bad fundamentals.
This is one of those situations where you wonder if he tried to bunt this on his own.
You know, if he was going to try to bunt on his own, Tony, don't you think he should have squared around a lot sooner than he did? Is he trying to fool somebody? I don't mind the fact that he continued to try to bunt there, but turn around. I mean, give yourself up. Say, hey, this is what I'm doing now.
First at bat of the game for Kevin Youkilis. Wow. String pulled on him.
That's almost not fair. Coming up to the plate for the first time, you got 95 on the fastball and a big hook like that one.
Youkilis in, defensive purposes for Bill Miller. Mankiewicz and Varitek aboard. Chopper, that'll be wide at first. And now Rodriguez ahead quickly, 0-2. Johnny Damon though on deck. Just don't feel that he's cruising through here.
You said this the whole series. I think Johnny Damon's made his impact already.
Oh yeah, not done yet. Away.
You know, it's really been a big difference the last couple of nights. Johnny Damon on base 3 times yesterday, 3 times again tonight. Figgins, on the other hand, had a base hit in 5 at-bats yesterday and is currently 0 for 4 right now in the ball game tonight.
Struck him out. So 2 Ks by K-Rod with 2 men on. Now brings Damon to the plate with 2 out.
In the box and out of the box. We've seen that all night long. Started out making it look like a strike and ended up not being a strike.
The K zone with K-Rod with a K. I mean, what?
With Youkilis.
Youkilis. Very good. Here's Johnny Damon. Mankiewicz leads off second. Pitch up high. Varitek off first.
Get a little nervous now. You see a guy hang a breaking ball that bad, Tony. That arm speed's starting to slow down a little bit. You're starting to fatigue.
And the other thing, when you hang one like that, you're letting that hitter get a good look at it.
That one goes over everything and rolls all the way. Oh, he almost came around it. Mankiewicz was a third of the way to the plate. That almost went out of play. That ball was just airmailed.
Well, just completely crossed up. Molina was looking breaking ball. I saw his feet spread so that he could get into it. See how wide he is? He's in a position to block the breaking ball if it's in the dirt. Look at him go down. He had no chance to get up there. Home plate umpire Jerry Meals very lucky that ball didn't get him. And I think Anaheim is lucky that Mankiewicz didn't continue to come because Molina had problems picking that ball up. Look at Johnny Damon. He said, come on. He knows how difficult it is to get a hit off of Francisco Rodriguez, particularly with 2 outs as there are now.
But if he does get a hit with 2 outs, there'll be 2 runs scored perhaps. With Varitek on the back half. There it is, 2 runs, and it's the Red Sox forte thus far.
I think that experience. They have so much more experience in the postseason than Anaheim.
He takes it for a strike. Damon, it'll be foul on the left field side. Balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 on. Can Francisco Rodriguez keep this a 1-run game, or can Boston give themselves a big margin? To second, Figgins stumbles with it, but has time to throw Damon out, and 2 more runners are stranded. We head to the bottom of the 8th inning here at Anaheim. Boston 4, Anaheim 3. ESPN's coverage of Major League Baseball's Division Series presented by Budweiser. And if you call for it, he will come. The rally monkey officially out. In full force. One of the craziest things I've ever seen before the Denver 2 years ago. I mean, I'm still not really sure what to say about it. Except that, what was that old song? Monkey Time.
Hey, we're the monkey.
Well, with them too. I mean,
I'm telling you, we saw it work back in 2002.
Man. Hey, we are the monkeys.
I mean, don't forget when Dusty Baker came out and took the ball from Russ Ortiz.
Don't bring that up, will you? Why are you bringing that up?
Because I'm an equal opportunity employer. I mean, I'm with the Angels.
But when he took the ball, the monkeys came out. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Well, they'd come out to start the
game. I know. Meanwhile, Mike Timlin's come out after 2 brilliant innings yesterday. He closed the game on that. He finished it, of which he struck out the side in the 9th. That included Erstad and Guerrero, who are the first 2 guys he faces here in inning number 8. Buckle your seatbelts. I know back in the Northeast, it's 1:15 in the morning. Put another log on the fire.
Yeah, well, this is why when you put your lineup together, you like to do that left-right thing, Tony.
Yeah.
Because you kind of put the seat belt on the opposing manager as to which route to go. You might think that, well, why don't he bring Mike Myers in here, the left-hander, to face Erstad? Well, Terry Francona does not want Myers to face Vladimir Guerrero. So what does he do? He brings Timlin in to get 2 out. He wants him to face these 2 guys and then bring Myers in because Garrett Anderson is 1 for 14 against Mike Myers.
And Keith Folt, the closer, did not work yesterday in the big win by Boston 9-3, but he will be on at some point if the score remains like this. Erstad swinging and missing at Timlin. Timlin, as we told you yesterday, wears World Series rings from the back-to-back champion Blue Jays, 92 and 93. He's been at this a long while.
Well, he did everything he could last year for Boston, only allowing 1 hit in 9 2/3 innings in the postseason. He's a big game guy. And you can see right now, I mean, Erstad is just really struggling.
Yeah, he's not seeing the ball real well out of Timlin's hand. The last 2 pitches have been up and out. You see him on that back leg, not really being able to shift it. Not really seeing the ball that well.
0 for 2 and a hit pitch tonight. After a 3 for 4 and home run game 1 for Erstad, Timlin. And it'll be foul. Timlin now 38 years young, 14th season in the bigs. Timlin from Midland, Texas. Pitched also in postseason with St. Louis. 23rd postseason game. It's not his first rodeo. But not his either. Boy, when you need a big hit, who's better at it than Darren Erstad? Such a competitor, such a clutch player. Maybe it is the monkey.
Not an easy pitch to handle either. Look at where this pitch is. Up and out. Doesn't try to pull it, goes with it. Tying run is on.
Good time to sacrifice bunt, huh, Tony?
Maybe not. Vladimir Guerrero, his 2-run single in the 5th, gave the Angels a 3-1 lead.
Look where the outfield is playing.
You're right. You're right. Starting right fit. Trot Nixon is He's I think in San Clemente.
4 or 5 steps from the warning track.
He's in San Clemente out there, and then Damon in center field is down, I don't know, down toward Oceanside, isn't he?
They're not going to, they don't want a ball to be hit over their head.
In there for a strike, and Guerrero said, wait.
You know what? I think he's got every right to complain here. Mike Scioscia has not been happy all night. You can see where Veritek is sitting. Take a look there. I mean, that is one of those borderline calls Anaheim has been trying to get all night. They did not. Boston just did.
Now Timlin goes down low, and Guerrero holds off.
Well, I give these pitchers a whole lot of credit. They might not have been getting the call, but they keep going there. They keep trying to hit that spot. Tillman got the call on the last pitch, and he comes down and in.
Tries to get Erskine leading the wrong way. Not a bad move. Almost did. There's one guy that's not worried about getting a little dirt on his uniform, I would say, would be the one-time member of the National Championship football team at Nebraska, Darren Rizdak. That'll be out.
Well, he doesn't try to fool you, Tony. He just keeps pounding that fastball. A lot of movement from Timlin. I mean, you see the two-seamers, some nasty sink at times.
Inside 2-2.
Almost like Vladimir knows that anything that starts out in the inner half is going to have that late movement coming in towards him. He's looking for something to extend on.
Yeah, he's looking for something to start out over the plate.
Yeah.
Oh, that just ripped foul. Third base coach Ron Rennick, he didn't have much of a chance to get out of the way. He just stood there and whoop, I think he heard it. Watch this. And oh. Timlin walks off the mound to talk with himself.
Pretty much been inside on the inner half of the plate.
Glad, huh? Gets him. He struck him out last night of the ninth, but this strikeout's a whole lot bigger. 1 out in the Angel eighth. And as you called it, shot Terry Francona to the mound. Timlin gets the very dangerous Vlad Guerrero. Should be the lefty Myers to go to Garrett Anderson. We'll be back. Back in a raucous Angel Stadium. The Thundersticks, the rally monkey, and the lefty, left-handed specialist Mike Myers. Another one of the acquisitions below the radar in midseason by the Red Sox this year.
And he's been really special in this situation here, as we mentioned before. 1 for 14 for Garrett Anderson against Meyer.
you suppose, you know, he's in for one batter with the righty Gloss next, then it'll be Folk to hold down the fort, correct?
Yeah, but Gloss has got pretty good numbers against Folk, so that's not going to bother him near as much as when Garrett Anderson, he didn't even need to look down that bullpen. He knew what was going to happen.
Anderson 0 for 3 tonight. Myers with that odd delivery, almost like he scrapes the dirt when he throws.
What'd you do off Myers, Tony?
Not very much. You know, because he changes your arm angle or your eye angle so much.
Changes speeds on that breaking ball.
It's so difficult. All night long you're used to seeing a guy throwing the ball from about shoulder height, and now all of a sudden he's scraping his knuckles on the ground as he's throwing that breaking ball.
Anderson still looking for his first hit of the series, 0 for 7. He'll look at the strike from Myers, 1-1.
The good thing for Garrett Anderson, he's not an overpowering guy, but the arm angles are just so difficult. He's not used to looking for a breaking ball from down that way, from a running fastball from down that way.
Wow.
What's he doing? Just sitting on a breaking ball? I mean, he didn't even look like he was even thinking about swinging at the first 3 pitches. Ball up, out over the plate. Maybe he's still just thinking middle in. That's about all he's been able to handle.
Toss over to Mankiewicz just to keep an eye on Erstad.
Or Veritek Boomer just pretty much keeping an eye on everything out there. Putting the sign to throw over. Paying attention to Erstad. We know he can run.
Myers acquired from Seattle on August 6th. Waves at it. Myers' mastery over Garrett Anderson continues. There's 2 out.
Watch what Veritek did to help Embry get out of this inning. Excuse me, to help Timlin get out of it. Here's you got Vladimir Guerrero. Look what he does. He puts the sign to throw over on, and then look at where he's standing right there. He's acting like they're going to climb the ladder with the fastball. Now Vladimir's thinking high fastball. He comes back with the cut fastball, the late movement, and look at where Vladimir was at. Veritek got that strikeout.
We'll be back. Red Sox relievers have struck out Vladimir Guerrero and Garrett Anderson, and now the dangerous Troy Gloss at the plate against Keith Folk, who the Red Sox beat in Game 4 of this series last year when he was closing for Oakland. Now he has a chance to, it's all his, to get 4 outs. And Gloss swings and misses at strike 1.
Well, it's the end of the night as far as the bullpen's concerned for Terry Francona. I mean, he did his job. Now you just have to sit back and let the players play.
Kind of like we heard from Theo Epstein earlier. Okay, I'm the general manager. Let him play the whole game. You're right, Francona. Now it's up to the players.
I mean, you put him in a spot where they have the best chance to succeed, as he obviously did with Myers. Theo knows that. Myers did his job. Timlin did his job, but the job's still not over.
Yep. Well, not with Gloss at the plate, it's not over, that's for sure. Troy 0 for 2 and a walk tonight. Scored in the second. Yesterday was 3 for 3 with a homer and 2 doubles. Yeah, and that's why Terry Francona is not saying if it's Arroyo or Wakefield for Game 3 or 4. They're both going to start in Boston. But Arroyo was a live arm in both of these first two games. He's up throwing now. Here goes the base runner, Erstad, and he was off by a mile. How about this shot off of Kurt Schilling? And if there was such a thing as a 5-run homer, there it was.
That one went a long way.
You should get credit for more than just one run when you hit it that far.
To the gloss from Falk. There goes Erstad. But it doesn't matter because 3 different relievers have come in to strike out 3 of the heavy metal of the Boston Red Sox. Timlin, Myers, and Falk with 3 strikeouts.
Matt Weiner and Steve Phillips back in studio. The Red Sox trying to take a 2-0 lead with 2 road games, something the Twins could not accomplish because of this sac fly in the 12th. What happened with Jock Jones?
Well, ball hit just high enough. Jones couldn't get his weight shifted, be able to make a strong throw to the plate. Jeter scores.
Twins took the lead in the top half of the inning, blew it, and lost the game in the bottom half. Astros, meanwhile, take a 1-0 lead on the Braves. Roger Clemens gets the win and 4 home runs to back him up.
Matt, Steve, thank you. This has been the look from Mike Scioscia for about 3 minutes.
Well, he's got every
right. It's been the look that we've seen all night. Remember we said you could fry an egg?
Yep.
I think we got an omelet going.
Well, he's got every right. Take a look at what Troy Glaus was called out on. It has been a ball all night long, and then all of a sudden, in the most important part of the game, the biggest bat, a guy that hit a home run yesterday, all of a sudden, we talked about letting the players play. Well, Jerry Meals took the bat out of Troy Glaus's hand.
So now in the 9th, Brendan Donnelly is into pitch. Mark Bellhorn swinging at the first pitch. Flies out to Vladimir Guerrero. There is 1 out. There's Glaus.
You know, hitters will tell you, Boomer. I mean, Tony, you've been there. I mean, if they miss a call on strike 1 and even sometimes on strike 2, you know, at least you got 1 left.
Yeah.
You know, you can get something done. But when they take the 3rd one away from you in a spot like that where Erstad had just stole second base, I mean, there's just it's so hard to handle.
Yeah. It is, and there's no remedy either. I mean, you know, Troy Glaus is standing there, you know, trying to get a good pitch to hit.
And his night's over with. I mean, more than likely he won't have another at bat tonight.
Manny Ramirez looks at ball 1 high. Manny's sac fly is last time up in the 7th. The reason the Red Sox have a 4-3 lead. Scoring Johnny Damon. Also saw bases loaded walk in the 2nd after he almost hit a grand slam down the right field line. Brendan Donnelly, remember 2 years ago, boy, everybody on this staff was wearing glasses out of the penny. If you're a hitter, when they throw with the heat, you know, Donnelly, and then they had Weber and now K-Rod wearing the glasses. It's almost like Ryan Duran, the old Yankee pitcher that was so fast and so wild with the Coke bottle glasses. You got to be afraid to step in against these guys. I wonder whether they can see it.
See, that's the thing. I mean, you never look at their face. Just look, find the release point. Just don't worry about the glasses, any of that. Just find out where that hand with the baseball is going to be when they let it go. That's why watching Manny is so much fun, because look how calm he is. He rarely gets excited up there. He's been in some tough situations here tonight. Under control, looking for a ball that he can handle.
And he has that same tempo all the time.
Nice, comfortable swing. Never a whole lot of effort.
Looking ahead to the Angel 9th. Normally you hear this lineup, you figure it's done. Jeff Devannon, Dallas McPherson, and then the new catcher Benji Molina. But Devannon has 2 hits. McPherson has a hit. Molina catches the majority of the game, and Manny Ramirez has a hit. Down the line, scooting over is Devannon. Manny's going to try for 2. Here's the throw. Not in time. So Ramirez with his first hit on the night, had 2 yesterday. And that was the very quick sign. David Ortiz is coming up. Let's walk him intentionally for the second straight time.
Yeah, Manny Ramirez is running out of the box, too. Ball's hit down the line. He was going to put the pressure on Nevada to make a good throw the whole time. And put his head down, and he's running hard.
He ran hard yesterday in the first inning, too, remember? Yep. It's a big part of the game. So Ortiz intentionally passed for the second time. Will put 2 on for Trot Nixon.
And you mentioned Manny with the first hit of the night, but he has 2 RBIs.
Yes.
One on the walk, the other on the sac fly back in the 7th, which right now is the difference in this game.
Boston now with 10 hits tonight. 4 runs, 10 hits, no error. Angels, 3 runs, 7 hits, no error. Red Sox, again, like yesterday, have left 9 on. They got 2 more on now. For Trot Nixon. Sports Center coming up when we're done with Scott Van Pelt and Steve Levy, Boston's own. This will break down this ball game. Astros slugfest. Boy, they've been slugging it under Phil Garner for the last 6 weeks. And Ricky Williams, Finn's furious, so we'll update that scenario. But meanwhile, furious might be a word to describe Mike Scioscia, who we just saw with Trot Nixon up.
And we talk about matchups. You got Nixon, a left-handed hitter. We asked Mike Scioscia, no left-hander in your bullpen. He said, you know, we looked at the ones that were available, and we felt like our right-handers would have better success than the ones that they could have acquired.
You know, if Stairs, there's a guy who used to play ball here in the L.A. area. You know what I'm going to talk about in a minute. Trot Nixon fouls it off. One of the most ominous stares ever. Sidney Wicks, when he played for UCLA, he used to stare down. I mean, Mike has not. That's been the look for about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
He feels he's had his pocket picked tonight.
Well, who was the coach that told you that? It might be a long night or whatever.
Huh?
Remember in the first or second? One of the Angel coaches said,
yeah. Broken bat, that'll be out of play.
About all these broken
I
bats,
can't tell you who it was, but called it. He was talking specifically about Cologne, one of the Angels.
And how he likes to paint corners.
Didn't say umpire Jerry Meals was, quote, bad. Just said the wrong type of umpire for our starter tonight.
Well, Cologne stepped up. I mean, they tried to take the game away from him early, Tony, and he just wouldn't let him do it.
He did step up.
He pitched great.
So did Pedro Martinez.
Absolutely,
what a performance tonight by him.
Both of these teams had opportunities to put extra runs on the board. And
nobody can bunt.
No, the execution part of this game hasn't been good.
Peel, no, he didn't go, but you know that'll just fry another egg. He got a dozen down there, a dozen eggs frying. No, he held it. 2-2 to Nixon. We'll do it again. Trot did not play yesterday. He's 0 for 4 tonight.
He's just really getting back into shape.
Yeah, he is.
He had that back problem, the disc thing, and he had a quad problem after that.
But you know what? Last week was still a good week. He and his wife, Catherine, their second child. Oh, he's a real father now. Once you get 2, you're a real dad. Congratulations to them. Not only trying to pull the string, didn't get it, so the count is full. You know, in some situations, 3-2, 1-run lead, you might send the runners, but with Ramirez and Ortiz, you don't think so.
I wouldn't expect them to be going. But you know what? Just the way this game has gone tonight, haven't been able to bunt people over.
No, you can't move. They didn't even, they were just leaning. They didn't even move. Well, you figure, look, you get Nixon and Mankiewicz, you take 2 cracks at a single.
Yep. Mankiewicz is 2 for 2 this postseason. he can't get it done, give him a shot. But the fundamentals in this game, they've been able to punt. The fielders haven't been able to make the play.
That's so
catchers not blocking balls.
Most of that directed towards Anaheim.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate for them because you get upset at umpires and things like that, but you really aren't helping. You're giving yourself an opportunity to be successful by doing the things that you know you got to do, and that's Mike Scioscia talked about that today. He was kind of disappointed in the execution of his team defensively and offensively yesterday. And today, the biggest play of the game might be Molina not blocking that ball and keeping it in front.
Nixon up the middle. Ramirez rounding third. He'll score. Insurance. Nixon's the one. 5-3 Boston.
Two-run lead for the Red Sox, but the guy responsible for 3 of them is once again Manny Ramirez. He is the one there on second base. Nixon battling a 3-2 count. A great at-bat there on the part of Trot. He finally wins the at-bat. Manny finally touches home. He hustled to get to second base on the ball hit down the left field line. He hustles home. 2 RBIs, a run scored. Up to this point, MVP.
Now Mankiewicz up. And that's another one. Well, it's by a different catcher, Benji Molina. And the Angels are not the type of team, as you pointed out all night, to give extra bases, 29 outs.
Well, again, instead of, maybe that ball got on him too hard, but instead of trying to shift the body and get all that equipment in front of you, tried to backhand that ball.
Gabe, welcome back Kaplan. There's the pinch runner. And Figgins makes the play.
Oh, what a play.
Himself. To keep Ortiz at third.
I haven't been broadcasting that long, but I don't know if I've ever written down 4 unassisted.
That's nice.
At first.
At first base. What a play here. Erstad all-out dive. He couldn't get to it. You're not going to have the contact play on with David Ortiz, Tony at third base.
No.
I mean, it just doesn't make any sense.
No.
He's not quick enough to get in on a ball like that.
Now the second intentional walk of the inning goes to Jason Varitek, whose 2-run homer in the 6th tied this thing. And that will load him up for Orlando Cabrera. So you're just not going to hold Boston, 2, 3, 4 runs. It's just hard to do, especially when you're healthy. Scott Shields, who Manny Ramirez unloaded on yesterday in that 7-run 4th inning after they knocked Washburn out, he's throwing. Again, Boston bases loaded first, nobody scored. Bases loaded second, only 1 run on a walk. I just know what's going on in New England. It's 1:45. They say, wow, geez, we won game 1. The last time, 9 times the Red Sox won game 1 in a series. They're going 4-5 in the series. They've lost 7 straight game 2s. The last win was the '86 series. So they're all scared. 5-3, but I'm not comfortable.
Well, the Angels have been real good at winning game 2s. And they had every chance to win this ball game tonight. They still do.
Yes, they do if they get this out. Ziegler scores. Here comes Berntek. The throw to the plate. Not in time. It gets away. Cabrera's coming home. Now he stops. 3 more runs. His first hit as a Red Sox since coming over from Montreal was a homer. But this one clears the bases. 3-run triple for Cabrera. 8-3 Boston.
The ball hung right in the middle of the plate, and he short strokes this ball into left center field. Garrett Anderson does a great job of just cutting it off and trying to get it back in. One hop throw to David Eckstein, but he doesn't have enough time to get a good throw to the plate. The Red Sox score 3. Break this thing.
And by the way, guess how many outs there were when they came in? 2 outs. Wow. So in the end, they've come in here and they're not done yet and have scored 17 runs.
They've been doing it all year long.
Lead the majors in runs. Better have your act together. And the Angels, and they'll say they got squeezed at the plate, but there are a lot of plays they did not make.
You're right.
And now, barring a miracle, they're going to go to Boston down 0-2. They've been a wonderful road team, Anaheim, but Fenway in the postseason is that's a tall order now.
Just the confidence that Boston came into this series with, and why wouldn't you be when you've got Schilling and Pedro on the mound? I mean, Theo Epstein telling us before game 1, you know, we're here hoping to win both. That's our plan. We feel like we should win both, and you know, right now it looks like he was right.
Youkilis flies out to right, but not until the Red Sox hang a 4 spot and lead 8-3. All right, guys, thank you very much. Scott and Steve will be by when we're done here. Red Sox with the 3-run bases clearing double by Orlando Cabrera. 4-run ninth, and now Folk on with all the biggest of margins to try to pin this thing down for Pedro Martinez. So the Red Sox have come out here and scored 17 runs on 23 hits. And even the monkeys have been put away.
You know, we had to figure the offense would be there for Boston, Boomer. You knew the starting pitching would be there. The bullpen vastly improved over a year ago. But the thing that so much of the time goes unnoticed with Boston is what a good, solid defensive team they are now. The plays made by Cabrera yesterday, a couple of solid plays. Millar has just been outstanding. He's made all the plays down there. They're not giving away bases. They're not giving away runs anymore as they were the first 3 months of the season. The UFC said they led in runs scored the first 3 months, and they led in ERA, yet they were a 500 team.
Jeff Devannon, Dallas McPherson, and Benji Molina. And I got to tell you something here. You would expect nothing less from Mike Scioscia's club. You saw the 2 defensive changes, Kapler and right and Reese in second. Full over to Mankiewicz, and there's 1 out. Well, just take a look at the Angel Bay. You know, they're crushed. They're down 8-3. And how much of it? Got everybody on that top step. They've had comebacks. This, imagine, will be epic if it happens. But don't tell them that.
What makes it so tough about Folk is that, Tony, he's not going to help you, man.
No.
He's not going to walk anybody.
Well, meanwhile, as it nears 2 o'clock, the Old North Church in Boston. 1 if by land, 2 if by sea, 3 if the Red Sox are coming home with a 2-0 lead. They're readying the lanterns. Pokey Reese just in the game over to Mankiewicz, and Anaheim is down to their final out. It's been done before. Coming down from 0-2, but only once. The 2001 Yankees have gone then on the losing 2 at home and then going on the road to tie it and win the 5th game. 95 Mariners at 3 home games. The Red Sox had games 3 and 4 at home and then won game 5 at Cleveland. 2001 we just described. Of course, last year Boston lost 2 in Oakland, won 2 scintillating games in Boston, and then Derek Lowe closed it out with the bases loaded in game 5 at Oakland. Doesn't happen often. Curtis Pride, a nice story this is, making the postseason roster. He's the pinch hitter. We will have game 3 for you on ESPN at 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock on the West Coast on Friday. Kelvin Escobar for the Anaheim Angels against either Arroyo, who, since he didn't pitch tonight, I think will be it, or Tim Wakefield. Now, guys, Boston has come in and kind of just pulled the plug, haven't they, while they put the charge into the back?
They have. I mean, 17 runs, 13 with 2 out. Bullpen did a nice job tonight.
Schilling and
Pedro.
It's quite a front end of the rotation when you can get 17 runs and 23 hits.
Yep. How about Schilling now? 6-1 with a 1.74 ERA and 12 postseason starts. 4-0 in his career against Anaheim, and he's 3-0 against the Angels this year. And if need be, he would start in game 5.
That's it. Folk has gone through the 9th, and the Red Sox have won at 8-3 and grab a 2-0 lead going home to play game 3. Sut, Tony, we got a date there?
Either.
The game Angels will give it a shot, but they're looking uphill. Boston wins at 8-3. Sports Center coming up next. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Kyle Peterson helping us down on the field, Rick Sutcliffe, Tony Gwynn, and all of us here in Anaheim, thanks for staying up late. I'm Chris Berman. 8-3 Boston.
O2 hole, not exactly the death knell. 7 times the team has come back in a 5-game series from down 0-2, but the Yanks want to avoid that, and their leader, Derek Jeter, helping them to climb out of a 1-0 deficit in the first inning. He visits the Reggie Jackson territory, only the 3rd player to ever hit a postseason home run out to the black seats. His 14th postseason home run earns him a curtain call. They're down 3-1, and then the chef comes up, and in a New York second, we're tied at 3s. Home runs galore, bottom 5. Brad Radke facing Alex Rodriguez in a 3-3 game, and Rodriguez on a 4-for-6 night makes it 4-3 home team. His first homer in the postseason as a Yankee. That's how you become a legend. Hit him for the Yankees in the postseason. Bottom 7, same score. Rodriguez facing Radke, a little looper. Scores Miguel Cairo. Rodriguez has a .381 average in the playoffs. That's the highest among all active players. Yanks in control. Then we move to the 8th, and here comes trouble. It's a 5-3 game. Tom Gordon facing Jock Jones, and he gets the strikeout, but the ball gets away from Jorge Posada. Jones safe at first. Gordon gets taken out after giving up a single to the next batter. Enters Sandman, but trouble on Rivera's first pitch. Justin Morneau, it drops into right field. Sheffield kicks it away. Jones scores. Twins are within 1. Next batter is Corey Koski as the Twinkies trying to seize control of this series. And Koski on a 3-2 pitch, runners going, and this might give the Twins the lead, but ground rule double. Torrey Hunter scores. Game stays tied at 5, and they do not score anymore. We head to the 10th. Joe Nathan in. 43 straight appearances. He has gone 1 inning. He faces the 2004 version of Murderers Row. 1, 2, 3. Jeter is out. And Rodriguez, chopper, he's out. Sheffield grounds out. Nathan, ho-hum, 10th inning. We head to the 12th, still tied at 5s. Tanyan Sturtz in his 3rd inning of work facing Torrey Hunter. That ball is crushed. Torrey Hunter stole a home run in game 1, gives his team a home run in game 2, gives his team a 6-5 lead. And it looks like maybe the Twins are going to head back to Minnesota up to love. But in his 3rd inning of work, Miguel Cairo has walked. The tie run. Derek Jeter, the winning run on base. And when this guy gets on, you just know he's going to be the winning run. Ron Gardenhire, is he going to go get his guy? No. Leaves him in. Rodriguez. Men on 1st and 2nd. Is this going to do it? Is it the ball game? It's a ground rule double, which means it certainly would have ended the ball game, but Jeter has to head back to third base. After an intentional walk to Sheffield that loads the bases, Gardenhire finally makes the call to the pen. He'll go bring in the very effective J.C. Romero to face Hideki Matsui. And on Romero's very first pitch to Matsui with a line shot. Jock Jones cannot get any forward momentum. The throw is sort of offline. Matthew Lecroy's throw home is offline, and Jeter, you just knew when he got on base that he was going to win it. One more time, Jones backing up because the ball is hit so hard. The throw in, the relay offline. Jeter safe. Yankees win. Yankees win. The Yankees win. They are now 14-7 in Game 2s under Joe Torre. They had to have this when they have won 7 straight postseason extra inning games at the stadium. Twins look like they might just snap that streak until the final and, for them, fatal half inning.